Men, are you dealing with issues like this? Book a session.
Korean women literally just gave up on their men. They're like, they're fucking assholes, they're not gonna change, so we're all gonna go extinct.
No heterosexual marriage, no childbirth, no dating men, and no heterosexual relationships. These are the vibes of the 4B movement in South Korea. It's basically a feminist movement protesting against the country's rampant misogyny and advocates women to reject gender norms, including marriage and having kids. The 4Bs stand for the 4 principles in Korean, coined in 2016 by the author Cho Nam-ju. Now it's blowing up on TikTok, especially after these YouTubers on their platform Solidarity said that marriage is the root cause of patriarchy. But a recent catalyst of the movement may also be incidents of high-profile murders of women, revenge porn, and spy cam sex crimes. Lots of people online are saying it's a long time coming and it's a rational response to the male-dominated culture of South Korea. You can also see women from other countries expressing solidarity with the 4B movement and wanting it to spread. Some critics of the 4B movement are claiming it's the reason behind the low birth rate in South Korea. South Korea has the world's lowest birth rate and hit an all-time high in 2023 of only 0.78 kids per woman. But others argue that the low birth rate is due to economic reasons, like poor job prospects, the high cost of raising kids, unaffordable housing, and long working hours. And the gendered reasons. Mothers face discrimination in the workplace, gender-based violence is prevalent in relationships, and women are expected to take on the majority of household burdens. But some female South Korean bloggers have said that the 4B movement is just an exaggeration of Western ideologies and represents a very small part of the population. It's hard to know how many women are part of 4B, as lots of the women keep themselves anonymous, but estimates range from between 5 to 50,000 women.
You gotta tell me, why am I driving during soft guy era? Why are you looking at me like that? I'm supposed to be driving. The attitude.
All this nonsense you're doing, I don't appreciate it, you know? Let's stop it. You need to take care of this thing. I'll be back.
You're driving when you come back. You're driving when you come back.
Then you're not a man.
I am a man. You know what? That man thing comes with too much responsibility. I am a biological male person during this soft guy era. This is what happens when you do all these masculine things. They don't respect your soft guy era. Let me know, guys, if you're having the same problem I'm having.
To pay back. Revenge.
When men fail to lead, the children rebel and the women take over.
It's a hard thing to admit, but it's understandable why they would choose to go their own way. And that's what's scary, is there's actually a rational reason why they would do that.
Men going their own way. And you can think what you want about it, but this is a really big problem for women, for us, for our future, for families, for you to find a partner. If a population of good men are walking away because they're fed up with women.
If you're being told all your life that you are bad and wrong just for being a man, and that you have toxic masculinity for being a man, and that, you know, women, there's this famous expression that, you know, a woman needs a man just like a fish needs a bicycle. And that men are basically useless. And that men are terrible, and that, you know, women are superior.
Our society is very callous towards men. The only message most men hear in the world is that they're a bumbling buffoon. The TV shows are full of idiot men. Commercials show men as buffoons. The society is against them. All they hear about is what idiots men are.
It's the mass of women that are taking over the culture and representing women. They're loud. They're mean. They say they want equality. Why are they not protesting in the streets for the changing the laws for alimony or child support or child custody? Because they don't want equality. They want superiority.
The male gender has more of a slave state, and it's because men are now subjugated to the law and to women, and nobody really believes it, except the men who go through, say, the court. But most men think that they're exempt from that until they end up in a bad situation.
So for a lot of the men, and a lot of them have gotten screwed over in terrible relationships and divorces and gotten their kids taken away from them. So it's an understandable response.
In the United States of America, as a man, you can't speak up. I think most women tend to be I'm stereotyping, but they tend to be more collectivist. They tend to sort of be more in that socialist mindset. So I don't know that you're going to see a huge change. I think the change will have to come from men.
The lives of women will not change until the men get the opportunity to also examine and define and change their lives. In many ways, I sometimes think that the 20th century was the century where the women made all these massive changes, and the 21st century will be the changes that the men will make, partly in adapting to the changes that the women have done.
And those men are doing something about it. They're saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not getting married, or I'm divorced. They don't sit around just trying to live their life through women. They actually have lots of hobbies. They go out, they buy that land you were talking about. They're out there getting motorcycles. They're having a good time, and they're enjoying life without having to deal with the stress of the women and the society that tells them they have to have a woman in their life.
How would you feel? I mean, you're not going to feel that attracted to a woman or care to be loving towards her or romantic towards her. So this men going their own way is a reaction to that. I really think it's a rational reaction to that. Men are finally like, hey, we've given you all you want. You know, you are equal in every way, and then you're still shaming us.
Pay back. Revenge.
Nigga ass, loser ass nigga.
Your video with comments about
He's a
certain
loser.
other female.
Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings. And most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the streets.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know a who used to suck dick every mother night.
My perfect man would be a tall, black stallion. He loves to cook because I'm not really a good cook, so that's his thing. He loves driving. He loves driving the kids to school in the morning. He's just really, really hands-on, with my kids. He's sterile because he can't have kids of his own, so he really cherishes mine. He's funny. We do movie quotes all the time. Every time we go around, we just laugh and do karaoke. He's smart. He is very good with the money. He takes care of all that, and he just lets me, make the bed.
Cognitive dissonance is a condition that happens for a myriad of reasons. Many times in modern America, men and women often do one of the following. They deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message. And they will fight you or flee because they cannot hear what you are saying. In conditions such as this, tied into cognitive dissonance, often happens to those that have or lack self-awareness. They stay in a perpetual cycle of arrested development, exhibited by this.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
I'm a mom of 7, and I'm 33.
Okay.
With being a mom of 7, do you think that a woman of multiple children is still capable of finding someone.
First, let me ask you before I make the statement. Do the kids have the same father?
Yes, they do.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, so this is a little, hold on. We're talking about 7 children, okay? This is no offense to you because it's absolutely possible for you to find a quality man.
Fate is before you. Choose wisely. All right, guys, we're about to start in a minute. I got my man Peaceful Life in the house. We're going to have a good show tonight, guys. Share this stream, guys. Share this stream. Share this stream. Because this show is talking about the 4B movement and the 4Ds that masculine men or modern men should utilize in these modern times. Guys, share the stream. Donate to the channel. We're going to put some fire for your mind on tonight. Peaceful Life and I, 2 Gen X brothers that remember a time when the world was different and where women were a better product. Get your pens and paper ready, guys. We're about to give you a classic show tonight. Let's do it. Minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock. Bring it to you live from the greatest state in the Union, the Tar Heel State. We're going to have a great show tonight. Share this stream, guys. Donate to the channel. This is male-centered content. If we don't do it, then who will? What say you? Bringing it to you live once again from the greatest state in the Union, the Tar Heel State, where the topography is serene, pristine, and verdant green, where every day is Father's Day, and where manhood is part of hills and valleys, victories and failures, and whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, but tonight we come together as allies of a common cause only to dissipate once the crisis is over. Now listen, I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. But before I drop that fire, let's explore why we are doing the Manhood Chronicles. All right, guys, thank you once again for tuning in. I got my man Peaceful Life in the house. Peaceful Life, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, what's going on, my brother? Peace and blessings to you, man. Glad to join you tonight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this has become an American conundrum has become a foreign conundrum. And in that conundrum, Peaceful Life, you see a rebellion taking place. What do you think about this so-called 4B movement and its implications to American women, but specifically black women, because that's who we deal with, or that's what we deal with?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's more something of a bandwagon type situation for the American feminists, who I think were already experiencing their own version of a 4B movement with the buy a dog and die alone situation, because the men themselves have already checked out. So I think this is the way for them to try and basically superficially empower themselves as if they're taking something away from the men who've already checked out. It's just basically more feminist nonsense, that they try to, get themselves involved in to make it seem like they're in control or they're winning, when in reality, many of them are just suffering.
Yeah. There's an old saying that says knees drive behaviors, and we talked about it several times in the past. One will argue that feminism, or first wave feminism, was equitable. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, to a certain extent, yes.
To a certain extent. But what's transpired now is not only radical feminism, but it's delusional. And, you know, one of the things modern women don't understand is this, Peaceful Life. Men are the arbiters of relationships. We are the arbiters of relationships. Relationships are symmetrical, meaning I benefit, you benefit. But sadly here in modern times, because so many weak men, so many entitled women, many don't understand how relationships work. And because of that, you're beginning to see a burgeoning movement to the 4B movement, but also to aversive feminist policies that are a detriment to masculine men. You talked about something called relationship capitalism. We're going to talk about it because that's one of your core talking points. I parroted that by talking about hoflation. We're going to talk about that as well. But it's funny the things that you see now. We're going to bring your clip back up, man, because it's really funny how delusional some of these chicks are, man. And what they don't understand, they don't have no power but the power that men give them. And what I found to be problematic on Peaceful Life, it appears that the more men try to do, the less they respect it. What's your take on that?
Are you dealing with?
What's your take on that?
I think so too, because I think it's just one of those situations where men have to speak through the only way that women answer, which is through behavior. Mm-hmm. They feel what they respond to what they feel now. Right. Because remember, if you try to go along the traditional ways of holding people accountable, it doesn't work in the modern era with social media, where there's so much positive affirmation online for many of these women. So they're not listening to you. The moment you say something to them or whatever, they have 100 simps in their DM telling them how wonderful and how marvelous they are. So they're not listening to you. Right. They get affirmation all day long. I mean, from the society to the media to everything affirms them, and tells them how wonderful they are. So how, something must be wrong with you if you try to talk to them or to change them verbally through conversation or understanding.
Right. And it's unfortunate. I want to show you something, man. I think the antecedents, Peaceful Life, to the 4B movement is the antecedents to the 4B movement is the 4Ds. We're going to talk about the 4B movement and what it means. But let's go back and look at this clip real quick. Guys, donate to the channel, share the stream, go subscribe to A Peaceful Life. Male-centered content takes a lot of time, guys. So if you like what we're doing, share the stream, donate to the channel, support male-centered content. But I'm going to show you something, man. Because this 4B movement is the virus of Western feminism.
Literally just gave up on their men. They're fucking assholes. They're not gonna change, so we're all gonna go extinct.
No heterosexual marriage, no childbirth, no dating men, and no heterosexual relationships. These are the vibes of the 4B movement in South Korea. It's basically a feminist movement protesting against the country's rampant misogyny and advocates women to reject gender.
What's your take on any time men try to set structure and order, Peaceful Life? It's always under the draconian mindset, and I call that catastrophizing. In the clinical, we call that catastrophizing. Anytime men try to set order, you have a group or a cadre of modern women that catastrophize. That's a cognitive distortion. It's a distorted mindset. I would argue, Peaceful Life, how is it that innocent men that are single, some will call incels, are held accountable for the behavior of a few? But then what do you think about this catastrophizing of behavior that you're beginning to see in some of these modern women?
Well, I think there's a couple of problems. It is one, the changes in society with inflation and the cost of living. 2, men checking out. And 3, sexual liberation regret.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of women that have mismanaged their youth. Many of them have given their bodies away, and the guys are not marrying them. So they try to join this empowerment movement. And it's almost like gaslighting, where they try to change it and rebrand it as them checking out. But really, it's the men that are really checking out because they've become so difficult and unbearable. It's almost like a reverse psychology, when really it's just, to be honest with you, when you mentioned something about hoflation, it's really 304 rebranding. That's what 4B really becomes. It becomes rebranding of 304s. Because a lot of them have really really, really mismanaged their youth. I mean, the options for marriage is slim to none, especially for many of these ones who've gone over 30. They just, they have an inflated sense of self-value, and the men are just not really interested in buying into it.
And you got the red cloud of the 4B movement, but you also got the red cloud of men checking out. And the way men parrot that, or more or less challenge that, is by not rewarding bad behavior. You and I are from Gen X. We remember a time when men had higher standards. Women that were disrespectful, women that had kids by multiple men, or women that were openly, or we found out secretly that she was sleeping with a bunch of men. But it appears that now those same women expect the top tier men. When you see this maladaptive behavior, what's percolating through your head, man?
I mean, outside of just hoflation, just pure delusion. But the thing about it is what happens in reality versus what happens online, but also through sleeping with all those men, they've set a standard in their mind because they've slept with certain guys. They've slept with that 6'6" guy on the basketball team. And that is the standard of man that they've been imprinted by, and they think that they're going to get. So we have a lot of issues too going on in their mental health issues. So really, it's a really complex situation. Like I said, there's a lot of resentment, and I think a lot of that comes from mismanaging their youth. That's people that have regret, and what happens is they projecting that onto men. And I think that's the foundation of the movement, because Western women have really not gone through any of the struggles with the heavy inflation that the Korean women have, which you see with the 4B movement over there. So really, they hijacked a movement and tried to rebrand it as theirs, really to gain some level of strength and power and to push men to give them what they want, basically.
Right. I totally concur. I want to show you something. And I think this is the antecedent or the counterbalance to the 4B movement, Peaceful Life. The 4Ds versus the 4Bs. I came up with 4 principles of the 4D movement, meaning the 4 Ds that men don't or shouldn't do. Don't date equals men should maximize dating only with traditional women that mutually serve. That's the key, mutually serve. Right. Meaning he served her and she served him. This parrots relationship capitalism. What do you think about that?
I think, exactly. I mean, that's really what it is. It's really trying to muscle men back into some level of, I mean, it's almost like it's crazy. You want your cake and eat it too. One day they're fighting for equality and freedom and sexual liberation. And now you want to muscle men, not only have this equality and equal, equal pay, equal rights, whatever. Now we're going to muscle you on the provider, protector, traditionalism plantation, where we have the best of all worlds. We get whatever we think that you get, but also we get you to pay all of our bills and take care of all the responsibility. So you pushing traditionalism and providerism, but at the same time, you want to push liberation. It's like they want it all, really. And it's the nature of many modern women, which is complete selfishness and dominance. So they want really to be in a privileged position. But we go back to the term rebrand. We talk about rebranding all the time, me and you. This is really just trying to put things back in the box, but also get superior position because they're selfish. Mm-hmm. And then they're selfish and they see themselves as victims. So really, they're trying to get men to fall for this. And I mean, only simps and silly men will fall for this type of nonsense or this type of bullying, when really they really don't have any power. And we've proved that with the soft guy era kings, that they have no power other than shame.
Right. But no power but what men give them.
But yeah,
I'm a firm believer that I don't mind taking care of good women, supporting good women, but I'm not taking care of no damn subpar women. Right. And neither should you, because that's rewarding bad behavior. Guys, donate to the channel, share the stream. Check out my man, Peaceful Life. Guys, we're going to have a good show on tonight. We're going to have a very good show. But in the meantime, get the likes up, donate to the channel, and feed the algorithm. look at this real quick, brother. I'm going to show you something else. Hold tight. So the second one, Peaceful Life, is don't provide courtship or chivalry, because the term I created that I'm hearing a lot of bigger content creators using, hoflation, have made average to subpar women think they are better than the average man. They have high bodies, excessive weight, kids by other men. Hold on. Kids by other men. Where they want you to take care of all their children.
All my children. And mine can carry all our suffering, all our pain. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and they need to pay.
Oh, that's funny.
Excessive weight, kids by other men, and don't embrace fair exchange. You talk about relationship capitalism, a term that you created, and I parroted, and it means that men should be exhaustive because the current or the modern world, Peaceful Life, have made modern women ultra or more or less hyper solipsistic. What do you say about that?
I totally agree, especially the don't provide courtship for these women, because the fact of the matter is that what they're doing now, especially with sexual liberation, is that they're dating the nice guys. They're dating those guys or those guys that they want as the retirement plan or for sponsorship. But, you know, I was telling you the last time when I was watching the Kendra G show, one of the key things that she asked the women is, when's the last time you've been sexually active? And that's the key factor. So they're getting their backs blown out by the guys that arouses them, while they're footing the nice guys with the bill, or those who are simpy enough to still be dating these women, who still have taken them on dates. So that's really what the problem is right now, is they're actually punishing the nice guys and rewarding the guys that they say they want to have long-term relationship and marriages with. So absolutely, you know, it's a disturbing type of upside down type situation where you give the worst the best. I don't know how you make that work.
Right.
So yeah, I support it. Definitely no courtship with those women.
Right. And you know what I find so appalling, Peaceful Life? It's the subpar ones that got the most to say. Another antecedent or a rebellion to the 4B movement would be, Peaceful Life, don't marry or deal with entitled women that complain they only want the soft life after having. So don't marry equals dealing with entitled modern women that complain and only want the soft life after having modern appliances. What I don't understand, man, is this. Women got more modern appliances than any other generation of women.
Right.
And they still complain. They still say they don't have enough time. But when you think about your great-grandmama in Bahamas or your grandmama, those women worked outside the house.
Right.
They washed clothes with their hands. They cooked from scratch, and they didn't complain at all. Modern women got wash machines, microwaves, and they got all the modern appliances that men created to make their lives better, but they still complain. What's wrong with that picture?
Well, the biggest problem is this. See, that's the thing about it with this modern women and their feminism is this. See, if a woman is living on her own, like I live on my own, so I'm doing these things every day or every other day. So the issue, as much as many of them can't cook or whatever, not good at cleaning, the big issue for them is they don't want to serve a man. They don't want to serve you. Somebody who thinks they're better than you don't want to serve you. Plus, with that feminism, they always have this idea, the color purple narrative, of that anything they do for a man that resembles traditional duties that women used to do is almost like they've been oppressed, or the evil patriarchy is holding them down. So they see it as oppression to have to serve a man. And their girlfriends also, too, that are feminists, and the family members. And that's why it's so important for men to vet the woman, vet her family, vet her parents, vet her, bring in her belief system before he even gets in a relationship with her, because they don't believe in serving men. They see it as oppression, and that's why they make such horrible wives or girlfriends, because there's just a one-sided taker's mentality.
Right. And we know it's solipsism. Solipsism is a philosophy that says nothing exists outside of self.
Right.
Shout out to my man Gregory Scholars. He's the #1 sponsor of the stream. Guys, this is what I'm going to start doing. If you donate a super chat or preferably a cash app, because YouTube takes 30%, when you donate the cash app, I'm going to put your name in the screen, and it's going to stay on the screen for the remainder of the channel. At the end of the stream, we'll have the #1 sponsor at the end of the stream. So save Gregory Scotland right now as the #1 sponsor. His name's going to go across the stream as the #1 sponsor. I want you guys to start donating and supporting male-centered content, because as I told you guys, I'm growing. My business is growing. You know, I have my own therapeutic practice firm. And as I grow, I want to continue to do male-centered content, but male-centered content don't always get the same type of rep. But Gregory Scotland said, salute to kosher and peaceful life. BGS hit it on the head. If black women try to embrace the 4B movement, then it will confirm to black men that they are doing the right thing by looking outside of culture. And right. Gregory Scotland, you are the #1 sponsor of the stream, Gregory Scotland. You're the #1 sponsor of the stream, brother. And hold tight. The #1 sponsor of the stream. And I appreciate that.
Right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? 5 on it.
Scotland's the #1 sponsor of the stream, guys. Don't let Gregory Scotland be the only one showing some love on the night. Guys, go support the Peaceful Life. Peaceful Life, put your cash out, brother, so they can support you as well. And I'll put it in the live chat, man, because this is male-centered content, and we need to support men because we take risks doing these shows. I take risks doing these shows. I am a licensed therapist. Even though I'm not doing anything illegal, I'm taking a risk because the truth is not popular. And once again, evil prevails when men sit back and do nothing.
When men fail to lead, the children rebel and the women take over.
Shout out to Gregory Scotland once again for the $5 super chat. He said that let's give a crazy shout out to Big Bird and her attacks on incels and soft guy era. She thinks that we do a reset on incels. Yeah, Big Bird. I don't believe Big Bird lasts long. But you know, so a lot of them frustrated, Greg, when they're going to be damn singing this at some point.
Ass, loser ass nigga.
Your video with comments about
He's
a
loser.
female. Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings. And most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the streets.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know a who used to suck dick every mother night.
You can't
delete your.
And you know what the problem is, Peaceful Life? It's the one that got a lot of pus in them and got a lot of damage that got the highest demands. And what they fail to understand is that there is no life force without the seed of man. The woman is just an incubator. Right. If you and I decided to put our seed in 20 women, we can impregnate 20 women at one time. A woman can only get pregnant one time. So how can you make demands where you have no power? You didn't create the infrastructure. You didn't create the world. the world that you use and the platforms that you use to shame, disrespect, and emasculate men with misandric talking points, men gave you the power to do it. What do you say about that?
I totally agree, and I don't understand the power of I don't want to say the word to be terrible, but I don't understand the power of a used box put back in a new box and used to leverage that against men. I mean, I'm talking about women that have pretty much given away their bodies to men. Many of them have had babies by men, and all of a sudden now you want to put that back in a brand new box and repackage that as brand new and use it as leverage. That's why when people were making that statement, remember we talked about it when they were talking about women settling. They had these couple of guys on the internet making videos about women settling. And I made the argument, don't tell these women to settle because they've already settled.
Right.
Every time they've allowed somebody, and we talked about, you remember we had a conversation about the two highest level a woman can give a man, which is access to her body and the birth of his child.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've already given 100 men access to their body and they've already birthed another man's child, how is it that they have power to leverage that body against men who have not even accessed that body? What leverage do they have?
Right.
Let's be like me going to the car dealership and getting a brand new car and running it for 150,000 miles, putting it back on the dealership lot, give it a good car wash, and then I'm going to leverage that and try and get you to pay new prices for it. It really loses all of its power. And that's the problem with the 4B movement, is that you're I mean, I don't want to say you're repackaging used goods and trying to leverage us for brand new prices. It doesn't work.
And in the past Peaceful Life, women that were virgins, no kids,
right,
or had low bodies, maybe one or two guys, they had the right to set expectations, but she still had to make that man's expectations. Women talk about being the property of men, but that's what chivalry was about. She was bone to his bone, flesh to his flesh. Right. They think about property as something bad, but that man loved that woman and saw her as his, to the point that he would defend her with his life. The problem with the modern woman, they want taxation without representation. And I said, keep going with the 4B movement. Keep going with the soft girl era, the soft guy, because what it's doing is just making men check out, and men don't care. And so we got another show tomorrow talking about the soft guy era. But Top Gun said, good evening, brothers. I'm sitting back smoking this kosher kush and ready for that fire for your mind. No doubt, shout out to Top Gun. Fire for your mind.
Hey, kosher. Remember that short I just did? I just did with the chick in Africa, with how the 4B movement will work out for these sisters, because I don't think men, we have an appreciation for how much women don't like each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the surface level, they'll stand together as a collective to avoid shame, to fight against us. But if you get them one-on-one, they really despise each other.
Right.
And I could imagine, like, I want to see 4B come here, because I think the comedy of it would be content forever for us to laugh at, because they'll be sitting in their girlfriend's face still dripping from the dude they had last night. They'd be thinking that she's with the movement, and she out there getting pounded out at night. That's crazy, man.
She got pus coming out of her.
Right.
Shout to my man Gregory Scott. He said, funny that a small move in South Korea can impress so many goofy women in the United States and Western Europe. And Gregory's right. The problem is dating is already down. And they're still complaining. Anytime men have standards or try to set boundaries, it's it's misogyny. But at the same time, they can call you short, broke, awkward, all types of names, which is misandric, and nothing is said. That's a cognitive distortion called minimization. I'm going to show you the other part. Shout out to my man Greg. He said, funny. That a small group of South Korean can impress so many goofy women in the United States. And what's going to happen, Peaceful Life, they're going to be singing that damn song by Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, because they're going to be saying to the other women, would you like to be my neighbor? Because so many men going to start checking out, man, and it's happening.
It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
You know what's so funny about it is too. It's
Yeah,
like,
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Dating may be down,
Norms including,
but pounding is up.
Yeah, the pound is up.
Because these women is not taking time off to rest those crotches of theirs. They're even the ones who come online and talk crap to men and talk crap, period. At the end of the night, they're getting pulverized by the same men they call dusty and they don't like or whatever else. And that's why, like I said, that's the most critical question that Kendra G asks them. When is the last time you've been intimate? That's what you really want to know. Dating is down, pounding is up. It's always going on.
Oh yeah. Dating is down, pounding is up, and they're so delusional they can't see it. They're so delusional they can't see it. I'm gonna go over the last one, and then we're gonna get deep into the show.
All right.
Hold tight. I'm gonna show you something.
Hey,
Share the stream.
Hey, Coach, I put that link in there.
I got you. I'm
that
about to pull
4B one.
I got you. Hold tight. I got you, brother.
No problem, brother.
All right. And so the third one, the fourth one is, hold tight. What was I about to say?
Go ahead, brother.
Don't marry equals dealing with entitled women that complain and only want the soft life after having modern appliances, still complaining, gave their best to unworthy men or men that did less. Don't provide is an antecedent, or don't protect women that are not yours. So men need to stop protecting, stop providing, stop dating, stop giving courtship or chivalry. Because see, here's the problem, Peaceful Life. They take the Chads and the man-mans, the ones that blew their backs out, and they overgeneralize and make it applicable to all men, which is another thinking error. And they assume that all men are doing that, when in reality, a lot of men can't get women. A lot of men are not getting women. Many men are sexless. What do you say about that?
I totally agree. And for the most part, you're basically invisible to them unless they feel that they can extract some value out of you. No respect, no nothing. Because you can walk by some of the sisters, and for many of them, I don't even speak to them unless they give me that positive, open body language, because you're basically nothing unless you online. Maybe they use you for some validation online or something like that. But inevitably, we exist in a reality where for them, they don't even know what a man is. They're debating, and many of them have gone alphabet. So some of them are so anti-man or resentful to men that they want to even redefine what a man is, through feminism. So you're dealing with a community itself. Don't value, don't respect, don't honor men. And it's almost like the hyena kingdom. And we talked about it, where they only see men as utilities and just to serve them and serve their purposes. And it's very hard. Anybody would be a fool. It'll be altruism completely to put yourself on the line as a sacrificial animal for people who don't value, who don't respect you, who can care less about your humanity. And that's why I always say men have to humanize themselves.
Shout out to Top Gun. Top Gun said these heifers been banged and rammed more than a bumper car at the local fair. Level up, fella. Shout out to Gregory Scotland and Top Gun, as they're the #1 sponsors of the stream. And they're right. Shout out to my man Kenny Peebles. He said this BS will stop passport bro movement. Bum rush feminist does not have a chance. Shout out to Kenny Peebles. No. And guys, once again, if you want me to read your comment, send a cash app, send a super chat. I will read random responses at the time. But right now, Top Gun and Gregory Scotland, the #1 sponsors of the stream. Guys, don't let those brothers be the only ones to donate. But I'm going to show you something. Ingram, A Peaceful Life, came up with this clip. And y'all tell me what you think.
The feminist movement, look how happy she is. What is she going to be doing with this guy? I'm reporting this to the feminists. Feminist alert. You have an escape conspiring with the enemy, the evil patriarchy, African at that. Get her. Round up the posse. Round up the posse. Bring her back to the plantation. She looks happy, don't she? Salute to you, my sister. Enjoy your happiness. Peace. They're about to go break that bed at the hotel, man.
So what was that response about Peaceful Life?
Well, I mean, it just basically is going to show how the B4 movement is going to go down, which is you got these lonely women like her, and she looks like she ain't had experienced a man in a while, as big as she is. But there's going to be some heavy pushing around that hotel or whatever cottage she has over there in Africa that he's waiting for her. And she's going to get that loving. And she ain't going to care nothing about no feminism or no B4 or whatever. You know, she'll come back to America with a big ass smile on her face. She ain't worried about no B4. Because they have no loyalty to each other. You know what I mean? Some of them they have no loyalty to each other. Some of them be sleeping with their friend's man. I mean, they don't care. They just don't care, man. They be that desperate for masculinity and company, you know, and that's really an example of it. They that as soon as they, and you notice even with the women themselves, they could be in a girl group. As soon as one of them get a man, she just disappears for a while, especially a man that they want.
Oh yeah. I agree, and that's what they don't understand, man. They're only loyal to themselves. I want to show you another video real quick that I clipped. Hold on. And this is a response to the 4B movement. Hold on.
Here's why men are checking out of relationships and are giving modern women what they asked for. Drizzle, drizzle. Weak loam to the new man.
Men, are you dealing with issues like this? Book a session.
I go on a date with a female and the bill comes and I look at it and I say, you know, it's so good to see you and everything. She don't pick up the bill and she said, oh, you're not gonna pay for it? I said, what? Drizzle, drizzle. I'm not gonna pay for anything. That's giving me an ick. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're.
So Peaceful Life, explain to the people how the 4B movement, and also the soft guy era actually parallels one another. Explain to the audience.
Well, I think what it is inevitably is that modern women, are basically trying to get men to adhere to traditional standards when they in fact are modern themselves.
Right.
They're trying to get all of the benefit of traditionalism. Men provide, men protect, men do all these things and still have this conversation about equality. So modern women that want traditional benefits, but they don't want traditional responsibility, traditional accountability. Basically, they want to have their cake and eat it too. And they also want to enjoy sexual liberation and tell men what to do.
Right.
It's like a 360-degree badass deal.
Right.
They want it all. And that's what you see out here now. And that's just not going to work because the guys just not going to stand for that. They have too many options. The men have gone their own way. You got passport bros. You got so many guys. See, men can go anywhere in the world and find a woman. The man in America is an undervalued man. So they want a whole bunch of benefits that they're not even qualified to receive, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree, man. And once again, in the past, what a man got was a wholesome woman. That was the reward that a man got. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland. Guys, don't let Gregory Scotland outdo you. Gregory Scotland is the #1 sponsor of the stream. Once again, guys, if you want to donate via Cash App, donate via Cash App. And what I'll do, if you write the comment in the Cash App or in the bottom, I'll read out your comment after you send the Cash App, or I'll put your comment in the live stream so it can be reviewed. But Gregory Scotland said we saw a hyena at 8 at the Table podcast get upset with Smart Guy that find that masculinity define what masculinity was. It hurt her that black men knew their worth. Yeah, and that's the problem, Peaceful Life.
Right.
They don't want you to know what your worth is. They don't want you to know what your worth is, and they want you to settle for mediocrity. MC Recovering Wellness, a good stream, Casey, my brother, in the hospital, and he back on the ventilator. My self-care and soft guy era is dribbling in effect. What's up, A Peaceful Life?
Hey, salute to you, my brother.
Shout out to my man, MC Recovery. And the soft guy era is powerful, man, because it's basically saying, okay, you got your standards, here are our standards.
Right.
But what it is, man, it's the incessant narcissism, solipsism, and the presumption that they are by default better than men.
Right.
Women years ago understood that you weren't better than a man just by default. You had to earn your way into a man's life because men are the arbiters of relationships. And they don't get it. And it's like the more you tell them, the slower they act. They don't want men to have standards because really, Peaceful Life, they're really insecure. They're really insecure.
Yes.
They're really inadequate, and they need men to validate them to make them feel good. Once you understand how women think and how they really look up to masculine men, they don't have no power but the power that you give them. Because my whole point is, men created this world, and good women supported men in the creation of the world. But men give their power away when they don't stand on masculine principles. You've seen it and I've seen it. When men become indifferent, the women want them more. It's called contraindication. But when the men placate or tap dance, it makes the man lose respect, or the woman lose respect for the man, because she's giving him her sexual market value for free without giving him anything in return. Hold tight.
You should be paying for the bill. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I got ready. Like, my suit cost like thousands of dollars. I got ready for you. My cologne cost a couple thousand. Like, I got ready and showed up. Like, I don't know what you're on, but I'm in my soft guy era. Drizzle. So I'm just trying to make sure that you understand.
So people like, your soft guy era. What is your soft guy era?
Marriage and having kids. The 4 B's stand for the 4 principles in Korean, coined in 2016 by the author Cho Nam-ju. Now it's blowing up on TikTok, especially after these YouTubers on their platform Solidarity said that marriage is the root cause of patriarchy. But a recent catalyst...
What do you think about marriage being the root cause of patriarchy? It's almost like they want a patriarchy that protects them and protects women and children, but they want a patriarchy on their own terms. What do you say about that nonsense? Like the patriarchy is so wicked and corrupt, and like, we don't have femicide here in America. We're not abusing women. Men in mass are not physically abusing women. When it comes down to domestic violence, women many times initiate domestic violence. Men tend to finish it. But the numbers are almost similar when it comes down to domestic abuse. One will argue that in lesbian relationships, you tend to see it more. But where is this foolishness coming from, man, in your opinion?
Well, it's just manufactured, because when you press them to really share their experiences in life, it's like the Color Purple narrative. They have this ingrained in their mind through feminism, and men are these evil abusers and destroyers of women, when it's not even true. But a lot of them too is projecting, this thing that it's all men's fault because they didn't get the outcomes they want. The guy who pounded them out never married them, pumped and dumped them. The guy who they're attracted to wouldn't marry them. So there's a lot of feminist resentment towards men because of mismanagement of their bodies in their youth. So they have a lot of, built up frustration because the dating market is not going the way they want to. They've been indoctrinated with this liberalism, especially in these college campuses. These gender issues, these gender philosophies, and this feminism, like they get a tremendous amounts of indoctrination that come to these college campuses, and it's almost like the campuses become like places to demonize men. It's crazy what goes into their brain with this gender ideology, this man hatred, or the demonization of men. And if men weren't around, there would be no wars. If men were around, there'd be no this, and men are this and men are that. So they really build this deep-seating hatred and ideology from years of brainwashing and indoctrination.
Yeah, and it seems like it's getting worse and worse, man. It appears to be getting worse and worse, and it appears that men are checking out because of it. Shout out to my man T Kings for the $2 super chat. He said that
yeah, that's exactly it.
Answer what is
that's what I mean. Like it's bad. It's bad out here, brother.
Right. They can't answer what a woman is, and the antecedent to a peaceful life is that men are laughing, and they're saying "get back," like James Brown said, "Get back, revenge." That's what they're saying.
Pay back, revenge.
What do you tell your sons, peaceful life, about focusing on themselves and having standards when it comes down to modern women?
Well, what I do is I sell the idea of really leveling up for financial freedom, and I think being on campus, they get to see, they listen to me, and they get to experience this firsthand, and they understand with how the girls move, the social circles they move, and they study them, they listen to their attitudes, their mindset, and their mentality. And listening to me as a father, they understand that these are not quality women. Mm-hmm. And then I talk to them about a man needs to build himself up before he even consider being in a serious long-term relationship, and the importance of having a woman that's traditional or raised in a patriarchal culture that respects manhood and masculinity, as opposed to somebody who doesn't even, like the brother said, doesn't even accept what a man is and what a woman is. You don't want that type of liberal ideology in your house. It's going to cause problems. It's going to cause fights. It's going to cause chaos. It's going to disturb the peace of the household. And sooner or later, it's going to lead to divorce.
Right.
So it's pointless to have that. They're just not raised to be wives, to be honest with you. So he knows not to even process those girls around him. First of all, he's too young, but just not to even process them on a serious level is anybody long term. They're just not fit to be wives, to be honest.
No, right. They're not fit, and it becomes an effort and futility when you try to have the conversation and try to show them what's important, and they don't respond to it, sadly, or listen. Let me show you this real quick. We're going to look at this whole time.
The movement may also be incidents of high-profile murders of women, revenge porn, and spy cam sex crimes. Lots of people online are saying it's a long time coming and it's a rational response to the male-dominated culture.
And peace of life, I've always said there is power in victimization. Everything is always seeing men as the boogeyman. But then when you look at it on the flip side, these evil, wicked men are the first one to put their lives on the line in general. Right. They're the first one to defend women and children in general. They're the first ones to sacrifice their health for women and children. But somehow men are these evil creatures. They always see men at their base primitive level, which is fear. It's at their base primitive level, which is fear, because they see men as predators. But here's a kicker to that. Women are just as predatory as men, or more predatory, but they're predatory in different ways. How would you respond to that?
I think absolutely correct. They are. And we can see that with the rate of domestic violence in the lesbian relationships. It's pretty high. I mean, those studs deliver some hard smacks. To be honest with you, I mean, it's just rough because they don't have the filters that men have who've been taught to protect women and not hit women or not touch women. Those studs don't have that. They're women too. So they figure that women get out of line, they do some stuff that a man would have emotional discipline not to do. And that's why there's so, tumultuous in those relationships where they go at each other all the time. But women themselves, you can see how they are towards each other and the vindictive nature they have towards. They don't really last as friends too long. I mean, they really fall out of favor real quick because they're always competing with each other and behind each other's back, roll each other up underneath the bus. It's a crazy situation with them. So yeah, it's very competitive, very vindictive, very emotional. And that's something that if you understand women, we understand that many of them, they're selfish and self-centered, modern women, that is. If they have not been, that's why it's so important to deal with women that have strong fathers, because fathers force them to develop their emotional discipline.
Right. And what fathers have to do, Peaceful Life, is not to not make their daughters think they are princesses by default without earning their way into a man's life. I got 3 girls, and I tell my girls all the time, you don't deserve anything. You're not worthy of a man's protection unless you earn it. You're not worthy of my protection. Well, protection is one thing, but when it comes down to other things like money or gifts and things that they want, you don't deserve anything unless you earn it. My job as a man is to protect you by default, but things that you want versus things that you need are 2 different things. The things that you want, you got to prove yourself worthy of that, and they think by default that they deserve it. And I hate the entitlement.
South Korea. You can also see women from other countries expressing solidarity with the 4B movement and wanting it to spread. Some critics of the 4B movement are claiming it's the reason behind the low birth rate in South Korea. South Korea has the world's lowest birth rate and hit an all-time high in 2023 of only 0.78 kids per woman. But others argue that the low birth rate is due to economic reasons, like poor job prospects, the high cost of raising kids, unaffordable housing, and long working hours. And the gendered reasons. Mothers face discrimination in the workplace, gender-based violence is prevalent in relationships, and women are expected to take on the majority of household burdens. But some female South Korean bloggers have said that the 4B movement is just an exaggeration of Western ideologies and represents a very small part of the population. It's hard to know how many women are part of 4B, as lots of the women keep themselves anonymous, but estimates range from between 5 to 50,000 women.
You gotta tell me, why am I driving during soft guy era? Why are you looking at me like that? I'm supposed to be driving. The attitude.
All this nonsense you're doing, I don't appreciate it, you know? Let's stop it. You need to take care of this thing. I'll be back.
You're driving when you come back. You're driving when you come back.
But you're not a man.
I am a man.
What do you think the response to this soft guy era is going to be? A Peaceful Life?
It's going to be brutal.
Why do you say it's going to be brutal?
In terms of their own psychological pain, because here's why. They're used to a one-sided conversation where they are basically out here saying what they want to say. The guys are not rebuttaling them. The guys are not coming back at them. And they get to flood the airways with the common narrative, which reaffirm their belief system, which is many-ish or many that. It's like they're trying to hijack the 4B movement that has nothing to do with Western feminism.
Right.
Because many of those Korean women, if they were in the right economic situation, even the men themselves can't afford to have kids in that country because of the high rate of inflation. So it's affecting the men and the women.
Right.
If they can be in a traditional situation or have a quality man, those women 4B will be over tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're trying to do is like create this false victim movement in the West that has nothing that correlates with the conditions in the West, because they're very privileged here. We live in a gynocracy here. Right. So it's like kind of false victimization, trying to create, because they're moving off of feminism, the feminist narrative. They're just making stuff up. Really, I mean, this is the most privileged group of women on the planet, and especially the white women that are a part of this movement. They're even more privileged. So you talk about being protected, having all the laws designed to protect you, even the laws of marriage and family court to protect them. So really, this is just made up crap that a bunch of ran through women tried to hijack because they're not getting the outcomes they want with the men. It's really trying to. It's like reverse. It's like they create a victimhood out of poor decisions, I think. And that's what you see right now, because the men are not marrying them. And you notice they yielded to this idea of traditional men. They tried to make exemption for men that are in marriages and that are traditional.
Mm-hmm.
And basically saying that that's what we want. But we also want to keep the feminist attitude mindset as well. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy. It's like they want the best of all worlds. They want everything their way, basically.
Right. We talked about an earlier hot topic. It's too much to explain. Basically, 4D is a response to 4B. 4B is like, I don't know. If you want me to go into elaborate detail, send a super chat or support Peaceful Life, man, and we'll go into detail. But I've already talked about it on the front end, but if you want me to go and elaborate in detail, support the stream, and I'll be more than willing to go back over it. But in the meantime, let's finish playing this, and then we're going to get deeper into a whole tape.
You know what? That man thing comes with too much responsibility. I am a biological male person during this soft guy era. This is what happens when you do all these masculine things. They don't respect your soft guy era. Let me know, guys, if you're having the same problem I'm having. Peace.
When you did that skit with your friend, how did she respond to it? How did she respond to it? I'm sorry.
She said, "You're nuts."
Does she understand what it is?
Oh, she understands what it is. I mean, she understands. She played right along. She understands what it is, because I don't think she don't much care for the feminists either, to be honest with you. And because what happens inevitably is that when women go against their talking points or their narratives, or they don't trauma bond with them, women become isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you have, your wife or other women may experience this, women that are in a relationship, that's why it's so important for them to really segregate themselves from the clan, the hyena clan. You know what I mean? They have to segregate. If you're a lioness, you shouldn't be hanging out with hyenas anyhow. It's like, those broads are just the trauma brigade. But they're the trauma brigade, but they will abandon each other the moment that one of them gets a hold of a decent man that they want. It's a crazy thing that they got amongst each other. You know what I mean? They don't help each other out either. In terms of giving each other good advice, they always sabotage each other. So it's crazy, man.
Well, this person talked about whole math, and Hot Topic, they go into depth about the 4B movement.
Oh,
wow. And whole math goes back to wholeflation, Peaceful Life. It goes back to wholeflation, hold tight.
Korean men that they're literally just deciding to die out. Y'all heard of the 4B movement? I'm a big fan.
The 4B movement stands for these four things, which mean these things.
So basically say sex with men for Koreans, child rearing, dating men, and marriage with men. And I'm trying to find out what's going on in Korea that's so oppressive and draconian.
It's the money. It's the long working hours, and it's the high rate of inflation that's just outrageous. I mean, Seoul, Korea is extremely expensive to live in. It's ridiculous. They can barely afford to exist. If you're working 12-hour days, 5-6 days a week, it's going to take a toll. You don't have any time to have sex.
So basically what they're trying to purport has nothing to do with American women.
Nothing. It's just them hijacking a movement, and they're trying to use it for their own selfish purposes, which is basically to, create this false victimhood. And again, it goes along with that narrative of the evil men, the evil patriarchy that have dominated. Look at the Korean women. They're fighting against the patriarchy, taking them down. It's just all made up crap.
But you know what? But you know what the parallel is? The parallel is Peaceful Life. It goes back to what you were saying earlier. They're trying to equivocate a struggle in Korea that has nothing to do with American women, because American women, especially white women, have more privilege than any other race of women.
Right.
And just like black women were hoodwinked by white women, they didn't give a damn about them, or use them to push their own agenda.
Right.
Could it be that Korean women are using Western white women to push their own agenda? Do you see the parallel? Because black men never had the power to oppress no one. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. Yeah.
And and so let's get back to it. Hold tight.
It's basically Korean feminism, which is cheaper and more efficient. The 4B movement initially gained recognition.
So the 4B movement initially gained recognition on Twitter in 2019. Notable 4B movement is Korean feminists. As an anonymous woman, it's a convention not to disclose the person. The digital movement functions as an outline community where women engage and envision a future without men. Don't that sound foolish, man? A future without men. It serves as a platform for women to vent the conservative society while fostering a sense of solidarity. Eventually, the platform protests against dating, engaging in sexual relationships, getting married, having children. The movement seeks to raise awareness and recruit more advocacy. And really what it is, Peaceful Life, is rebellion. It's rebellion, but also it's penis envy. they want the benefits of being a man, but they don't understand that men die off earlier than women and that our plight is harder than theirs. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. Yeah. But the correlation too with like how the Western women, that like, how long has sexual liberation been going on in America? Since the 60s.
Right.
But even if you deal with Korea itself, in South Korea, you don't have, women have, I mean, the promiscuity of American women and Western women is really intense. So these women in Korea were never really engaged in sexual liberation in the first place because of the way their culture is designed.
Right.
So our women have been enjoying sexual liberation for a long ass time. I don't know they're gonna put it back in the box. You know what I mean? So, and in that society, men really can't really get that much access to women unless they maybe through the culture, they're not as sexually active as we are, usually through marriage, through family, or even of a certain status level that they have to attain. Women can be of a wealthy family and they can, have sex with Quintavious here in the West. They don't do that like this. That comes with a lot of shame in those Asian countries like Korea.
Right. Shameful.
So,
I agree.
Yeah,
Right.
So what they're doing is taking things that are not even parallel in terms of culture, in terms of society, and they're trying to use that and apply that to American culture for a privileged woman that have been sexually liberated for so long and feminist for so long, when they really don't have anything in common with Korean women. It's just different.
Right. And that solipsism ties to the victim narrative. They create scenarios in their head that are not even based in reality. And what they do, they sabotage their own men for their own selfish needs.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
On Twitter in 2019, because of course it did, through various feminist social media accounts, because of course it did. And they are focused on envisioning a future without men, because of course they are. The cornerstone of feminism is that everything is oppressive. The 4B movement had an escape the corset movement. The word corset is used here for the societal mechanisms that bind and repress women, like toxic beauty standards. Just like in Western feminism, toxic...
So when are men creating beauty standards?
Right.
Because men flip their peaceful life and say toxic financial standards, toxic dating standards, toxic height standards, toxic phallus standards, toxic swag standards. Do you see the parallels? For everything they accuse us of doing as men, we can flip it back and use it as a counterpoint. What would you say? What do you think about that?
Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, that's really just their, again, if it had any meaning, then they would have no problem with soft guy era or the soft guy kings, because they're saying that masculinity itself is toxic, right?
Right.
And it's part of evil patriarchy, dominant patriarchy. So if men are going into their soft guy era, which means they're connecting with their emotional intelligence and feelings, right. They shouldn't have a problem with it. They should be on full. See, the problem with it, like, okay,
right.
What makes soft guy era so difficult because it's reversing their talking points.
Right.
So it's a lose-lose situation for them, right? If they argue against us, they'll be arguing against themselves. So they'll still lose it. So it's all that's why soft guy era is so powerful, why they're so irritated. They can't attack their own talking points. Guys are using their own talking points back against them. So this idea of toxic and this made up thing, this just made up ideology to really just create this idea of the boogeyman, the demon, the evil man. Because if something is evil and inherently evil and abusive, then this is why there should be certain laws passed against them and certain benefits taken away from them, and power taken away from them.
Right. No, I agree. Hold tight.
Means anything I don't like. I need all of this from you, but you need something from me. That's toxic. I am the table. This, of course, is not toxic.
And that's extreme arrogance, because what women got in the past, remember I said that there's carnal hypergamy that's very exploitative, because this is carnal hypergamy. But kosher hypergamy is fit and proper. That's what your grandma practiced. That's what women in other countries practice. They practice kosher hypergamy. But now carnal hypergamy is on steroids, and the delusion of some of these women is so appalling. If men fall prey for a peaceful life, they're going to suffer from this. Carnal hypergamy is what modern women are dealing with. They want the best of men, don't want to get nothing in return, and expect the soft girl life forever. Right. What does that mean by sprinkle? What does that mean?
But that's old gold digger philosophy.
It's a gold digger philosophy. Okay.
Yeah, this gold digger philosophy. Basically, what she's teaching women how to do is basically be, professional gold diggers, man. Mm-hmm. 304s, prostitutes, professional gold diggers. That's really what it comes down. It's a heartless. It's really heartless in its mindset, and its mentality, and its ideology. I mean, it's crazy how bad it is, man. I mean, it's really bad, man. And I think I had one. Where's it at? Let me see. I had a video of her whole ideology of just the nonsense that she is talking about. The sprinkle lady, It's crazy how bad it is. Just purely gold digging ideology. I played it at the beginning of the stream today, but she's telling women to get 6 or 7 men. If one man is not giving you money, use the man to help fund businesses, get money from about 6 or 7 of them to sponsor your life and your existence. And then she's saying this comfortably. It's disturbing.
No, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. Hold tight.
Korean women literally just gave up on their men. They're fucking assholes. They're not going to change, so we're all going to go extinct.
That's where she's wrong. She says that Korean women are mad at Korean men, but they're actually mad at God. And if you don't like that word, just call it the universe or physics or whatever. It's the same thing. This is a hierarchy of creation. It goes from God or the universe all the way down through man to woman to child to the natural world and all the way back up.
It's rebellion. It's all rebellion, because in theology it said in the book of Genesis, she will have a desire for her husband, and he will rule over her. It basically was saying that she wanted power. And it appears peaceful life that the more power you give them, the more they oppress.
Right. Goes both ways. Basically, the universe just is the way it is. Like, you can't get rid of gravity, and men have to deal with that directly and build things from it. And we also give approval and attention and validation to women, who then provide nurturing to communities and children who their role is to be the learners, and they provide creativity and new ways in developing new things to do with the natural world, which is how we get new things like the internet or different types of cheese or whatever. But in the same way that man cannot simply ignore the rules of gravity, women cannot simply ignore what men need from them either. Otherwise, we can't do our jobs. That's just how reality works. Right. So what these women are saying is, I want resources and money and power and everything. I just don't want to provide men with what they need in order to continue creating.
And that's a key one. Fact. Peaceful life, obedience, loyalty, and respect. I tell women all the time in practice that love to a man is predicated in obeying him, respecting him, and being loyal. But they rebel and fight so much that it makes it difficult for a man to be premium at doing his job as a man. What have you seen in relationships, peaceful life? Because let's go back to the 70s. Let's go back to 70, around 82, 83. What did you see as it relates to nurturing women? Did you see more nurturing women back in the past? And if so, when did you see it going away?
I think there was more feminine women back in the past. I think it went away in the 90s. A lot of the girl power, it started getting bad in the 90s. The 90s is when all the TLCs and the Adina Howards, and when women stopped really singing to men and start singing girl power songs, and I think it wasn't as blatant as it is now, where they just, there were certain things that were just underneath the surface that women never, because there was still some order. Social media wasn't there. So that's the huge benefit of not having the technology that we have now with social media, is that it's almost like things started degrading slowly with social media, where people became more emboldened. They kept pushing the line, and there was no pushback against it, and then you have more kids being born, more situations where male leadership was really just being undermined, more single parent households. As things keep going throughout the 80s and the 90s, it kept getting worse. More of a female dominant environment, especially in the Black community. And I think that's what really sparked the decline. And then you talk about more liberal voting, more, feminist ideology, really degrading the situation. What it does is really move the way the checks and balances, that even with men or any type of social order was removed. Basically, if you shamed, it removed shame. And if you try to say anything to anybody, now you became a hater. So what good became bad, what's right became wrong, what's wrong became right. So you couldn't really challenge anybody the way you used to challenge anybody, because now because that whole idea of holding people accountable was removed.
Right. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Shout out to my man, Gregory Scotland for the 5. He said, what we have learned is that the 4B movement is the effect of low birth rates in South Korea. It was not the cause. And Gregory Scotland, because of that, the chickens are coming home to roost.
America's chickens are coming home to roost.
Shout out to Sister Bashur. How you doing, dear? Shout out to that dear sister. How you doing, Sister Bashur? Guys, don't let Gregory Scotland be the only one showing love on tonight. Show some love to my guest, The Peaceful Life. We're collaborating this show. Show some love to him. Donate to his channel. Donate to the Cash App. Support Mail Center content, guys. But let me finish showing you guys something. This is what men need. Obedience requires. It's two ways. We require obedience, loyalty, and respect. Just like they want provision, attention, and love.
Them. Usually what keeps this whole thing going is that men provide women with approval, attention, and validation. So basically, if men don't follow the rules of the universe, then they don't get what they need from the universe. That's just physically how life works. You need to know when to plant seeds and stuff. And usually, when women don't follow the rules made by men and give men what they need, then men don't provide women with what they need in return. But now women have these cell phones that are providing them with all of this approval, attention, and value.
We talked about that, man.
Yes.
The cell phones that men created, the cell phones that men produce. Do you see how delusional that is, man? The men that gave them the power to talk trash to men. Men gave them the power, Peaceful Life.
Right.
But it's like John Milton's Paradise Lost. God created Lucifer, but Lucifer blamed God, and Lucifer was the victim. And men gave women the power to talk trash to them. If every man and boy got on a ship and went to Planet Man, what do you think would happen to the Earth currently? If every man left
it would just disintegrate.
It would disintegrate, right?
It would turn into complete failure, utter failure. The women will just go into madness.
and man, it's like they don't have it's like they don't have the insight to see it. Gregory Scotland said, hey, Bashur, drizzle. And it's a dark cloud coming. Top Gun said, I'll buy your car, I'll buy your clothes, I'll cook your dinner too. As I get home from work, the same guy wrote, I'm your superwoman.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I mean, it's like you can never do a damn enough for them, man. And what women don't understand is that, the righteous women understand it, like Sister Bashur, but they don't understand the more you give to a man, the more he want to do for you. They don't understand that the more you love him and take care of him, keep his sack drained, keep his belly full, be feminine and loving and kind, the typical guy or the average guy or a masculine guy gonna take care of. Now we know that there are guys that are users, but in general, the average guy will take care of a woman. What's your take on that?
I totally agree. Our men's happiness is so simple, so simple. And I know women with the color purple narrative have this narrative that if the more you do for a man, he's going to just leave you. But that's not true, because the men are not leaving relationships, and that's backed up by statistical facts. Men have more loyalty, so they focus more on the anomaly and what their mama and them told them, or with women from watching that Oprah thing of Harpo and what's the other one there, Harpo and Mister and all them damn fools. That fake ass narrative that they
all
wrote.
Damn fools.
Yeah, they're like that's the image of black men, and that has been even used in white supremacists to really show that these men are monsters and women beaters and whatever. And women use that because we just had The Color Purple on Broadway. I mean, a rewritten version of it with lesbian involved, but that lesbianism involved, but still. It's the same narrative of the evil, monstrous man, Mr. from The Color Purple. And Oprah is a feminist. So she, her and what's her name? Alice Walker and whatever, they brought that. And again, we talk about corporate sponsored feminism, but brought that to fruition to create a narrative to really create this picture of this monster. And women, they see this monster. And that whole idea of them as a collective, they always have this story when you talk about relationship. Well, what if he beats me, or what if he mistreats me, or if I give myself to him, he's going to mistreat me or treat me like an animal.
Right.
When men have been protectors of women. I mean, we take care of women. That's just what we do as men, as good men.
Right, as good men. Right.
But,
and they falsely equivocate all men to the men that hurt them in the past. Shout out to my man Suave D for the 5. Shout out to Suave D. And once again, shout out to Gregory Scotland and Top Gun, as they are the #1 sponsors of the stream. Suave D said that, hold on, what did he say? He said, keep up the good work, fellas. # masculinity, no doubt. And at some point, they're going to be singing that song by Pam LaBelle, Peaceful Life, called On My Own. Because men are checking out, and they're just laughing at it. It's becoming very comical.
Validation, which makes them think, I don't need men anymore, even though men are still making all the stuff. So because women are no longer providing this, men are no longer providing this, which means no one can have any of these. And the women are saying, okay, we'd rather die. That's what quotes like this mean. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king. That means if you don't do as the universe demands, then you're not going to get anything from it. So man has to build society according to the rules of reality, and women have to fit into society according to the rules of society. And then children have to get good grades, or they don't get ice cream or whatever. It works the same way. The Bible uses that word a lot, rebellious, and what that means is I want the benefits, but I'm not going to follow the rules. That's why this table argument is so important. I want you to provide me with things, but I'm not going to provide anything back.
And what are you getting in return, Peaceful Life? You're not getting anything serious. You're not getting a wholesome woman. You're getting a woman that's been ran through. And also you're getting a woman that's listened to the voice, Peaceful Life. She listened to the serpent.
Follow me, baby. The elders are old and out of touch. I have the power to help you become the better version of yourself. Listen to me. I know what's best for you. I am the Snake Whisperer.
For life, you and I, when we talk in private, you talk about some of this stuff is demonic. And I agree with you. It is demonic. Up is down, down is up. The energy that you get from these women when you talk to them or when you see them in social media, what are you saying to yourself as this stuff goes through your psyche, man?
I'm just saying that, it's gotten to a point where I don't understand it anymore. I mean, You think about it like this. We have people like Glorilla that's popular, that's been dancing in front of a self-deletion clinic. Sexy Red. And you have, what's the name of the record company that signed her? They know the damage that it can, when she is considered somebody that's acceptable by the culture. And let's say someone like, I know people don't like Candace Owens, but Candace Owens is considered bad, right? But Sexy Red is acceptable. Or anybody that has any kinds of values is considered bad. So what's bad is good, what's good is bad. And almost like it's demonic spirits. And I always tell people that people are worried by the wrong thing. When the president of the United States, it's because they have social media platforms that want to talk to Cardi B, want to talk to Sexy Reds instead of intelligent, respectful Black women. When Omar Johnson is calling Sexy Red and Sukihana queens, it's almost like it disrespects any good, wholesome, quality Black woman. It's like a disrespect. These women should be shunned and shamed and cast to the pile of shame, but we're essentially elevating what the equivalent of back in the days were chicken heads to this higher level because of superstardom, because of popularity. Popularity is more important than substance. So you can be the most disgusting, ratchet, degenerate person, but if you're popular, all of a sudden that you matter. And, you know, you get to go sit down and discuss political issues with the president and twerk in the White House with Camellia, I guess, basically.
And imagine, Piece of Life, if TikTok died.
Oh, my God.
Imagine if Instagram died. Imagine if Facebook died. Imagine if the grid shut down, Peaceful Life. Imagine if men just went solo altogether. But these delusional creatures, not all the sisters, shout out to the good sisters, but these delusional women that are a part of the dark side and operating in their dark nature, they don't understand, Peaceful Life, that they're going to sabotage themselves long term. And the more they do it, what's going to damn happen is that masculine men ain't going to settle for it.
Nope.
The simps gonna lie to them and play them, and eventually the simps gonna get sick of it because inflation is getting higher and higher, and the demands are getting higher, and the product is becoming more and more and more subpar. What your granddaddy got and your grandfather got, men gotta damn work twice as hard to get average to subpar women. Thus, inflation. And I've never in my life seen nothing like it. Hold tight.
Imagine if you were saying, I want food to grow, I'm just not going to do any farming. That's what this is illustrating. If you don't do what you have to, then you don't get anything back. And if you don't provide men with what they need in order to make food and fix buildings and stuff, then they're not going to give you any of those things, and then everyone dies. I'm not saying that men don't have work to do. I don't know what's going on in Korea. Maybe the corset is too tight. Maybe men need to start providing something new. But if it's anything like American feminism, it's probably all get.
So
it's nothing. It's nothing like American feminism.
You're right. Look at this picture, Peaceful Life. What is that? The Lulu? What is that? The Lulu?
This guy has a way with his drawings, man. He's tripping, man.
Government, the corporation box, tax burden,
right?
For equity, men give, women get, and men get nothing. Right. And it's like a leech. It's like my man say, a parasite, man. The more you give, the more they want delusional. They want their damn lattes. They want to shop, and they don't want to do anything. And I see it all the time in therapy, Peaceful Life,
right?
Where men compromise their power, become frustrated, and they allow the women to continue to do it to the point that anything a man makes as a request, a basic request like sex and cooking a meal, the women will silence them, and they still want more. And the more the man gives them, the less they appreciate them. It becomes a very vicious cycle.
American feminism, it's probably all get, and never where are we getting this from. And every time you break that chain, you just die off.
Which they literally are, by the way. Korea has like the lowest birth rates in the world. But I just think that's so funny. Like, Korean as an ethnicity is about to go away, and Korean women are literally just like
It works the same every time. You fill your mind with entitlement, you blame somebody for what you don't have, and then you use, usually the government, to take it away from them. When the government gives this to women for free, then women stop giving men support, and men go, what's the point? And then women go, what's the point? And then, well, bye-bye, Korea.
And what happens, Peaceful Life? It plays on their solipsism. Sister Bashir said something. What do you think about what she said, brother?
We said it's the same football team, so we watch games together. We watch fights and martial arts films. Yeah, I mean, she sounded like a pretty supportive sister, you know,
right.
and really one that is bonded with her man. But what a lot of Western women don't understand is this: with the Korean women, even many of them who have indoctrinated themselves with feminism, they're not really as sold on sexual liberation as the American women.
Right.
So while you can reverse an ideology, you can't reverse that heavy pounding. Once you've been ran through and heavily pounded. See, the Korean woman, they still have culture, which is not a promiscuous culture, which is reflected in the level of sexual STDs that they have.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as promiscuous as Western women.
Right.
And you can tell that by the statistics on that. So that's what American feminists don't understand. The Korean women can go back and fall into traditionalism. American women can't go back because you can't revirginate yourself after you've enjoyed 100 guys or whatever else. It just really, you can't get rid of those scars. That's just going to be with you for life, that those 100 guys have enjoyed you. So it's like comparing two things that are not even parallel to each other. Even if they've gotten a taste of feminism, they're just not promiscuous like American women. There's some women that are.
Right. I agree. Yeah. Being slutty is not a good thing. And what they don't understand, man, the more pus they get in them, the more crazy they get.
How about this poison? How about poison? The more poison they get.
No, damn it, more pus. Because that's hold on, Peaceful Life, because that's what it is. It's pus. And once they get that pus in them, Peaceful Life,
you can't go back.
This is what happens.
Loser ass nigga.
Your video with comments about
He's a
certain
loser.
other female. Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings. And most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the streets.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know a who used to suck dick every mother night.
You can't
delete your.
Yeah, you can't delete that ski.
You can't. It's hard. You're gone. Once they can't go back. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I understand. The Korean women can hit reverse. They don't have that high rate of pregnancy. They don't have a whole bunch of single mothers running around. They just don't have all the negative consequences because they have a different culture.
Right.
I mean, it's even crazy, like even in the black community where you have a 70% single, must be 80% by now, single mother rate. Like, you can't, hit the time machine on sexual liberation. It doesn't go back, man. Once the football team has gotten you, that's for life. And, every time you move forward, and that's really what it comes to, just regret. Regret is the biggest problem, is that a lot of these women realizing, and they're trying to get onto any kind of movement with women that have not been as promiscuous as them. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, shout out to my man Gregory Scholar. He's the #1 sponsor, followed by Top Gun. Right. And my man Suave D, he said double up. And Suave D, we're going to drop that beat for you, man, Big Bass style. We're going to drop the beat.
I am the one that take 2 just to make it. 3 of you hating, 4 your replacement. 5 I'm the best to survive in the matrix. 6 of you out, rest in peace to your baby. I am the one that take 2 just to make it. 3 of you hating, 4 your replacement. 5 I'm the best to survive in the matrix. 6 of you out, rest in peace to your baby. 7, if it ain't kosher, ain't 7. Hell is your home, but you looking for heaven. 7, if it ain't kosher, ain't 7. Hell is your home, but you looking for heaven. 7, if it ain't kosher, ain't 7. Hell is your home, but you looking for heaven. 7, if it ain't kosher, ain't 7.
And you know what? Men are looking for heaven, peaceful life. They're looking for heaven, because none of this stuff is kosher. Ain't none of it fitting proper. Because the more things change, the more they remain the same. The more things change, the more it remains the same. I'm going to show you something, guys. We're going to have a live call in a minute. You can ask Peaceful Life any question that you want to ask him. You can ask me, myself as well, the kosher clinician. And we're going to teach you, man, how to have a peaceful life, but also how to make your life kosher, which is fit and proper. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to go back to this 4B movement. And I got another show coming up tomorrow talking about and examining in depth this soft girl era. But hold tight.
The funniest thing about the 4B movement is it always comes from women that look more masculine than the men that they're talking about. And you know the exact women I'm talking about
Exactly.
that have like the septum piercings, the different color hair.
And the funniest thing about watching a sad, bitter pick-me talk about a movement that she has no idea what it's actually about, on top of the fact that you too have different colored hair. I see your roots, sis. Now, I'm not part of the 4B movement myself because I have an amazing man that I chose. However, if I ended up being single, or if I was single, there's a high probability I would be part of the 4B movement, 100%. But the insignificant teeny brain is not allowing you to understand the reason why.
You see how they shame and try to disrespect women? Shame, insults, guilt need to be right. Teeny brain.
But the thing, what's she going to leverage? If she was a part of the 4B movement, she looked at she's about 60. Is she going to leverage that 60-year-old box and say, you can't have this? You know what I mean? Like, what you going to be like, you guys are, I'm not sleeping with you guys. I'm 60 years old. This box has been on the planet almost a century. Right. And we're going to be like, you know what? Oh, my God, you just taken away that from us. We're so distressed. Mm-hmm. Good luck.
And you know what? I like what Sister Bashir said. Sister Bashir, let me congratulate you, dear. If you got a righteous man, and it appears your husband is a righteous man, and you are relying on your husband to provide for you, that means you don't have any walls up. The barriers that you had up from your past, your wall is down, and you're able to submit to your husband and get his provision and love, because you don't have any walls up. The problem, Peaceful Life, is that so many women come into a relationship with a wall up. They come in with what's called a deficit mindset. They come in with a deficit mindset, and they never can give their all to a man, Peaceful Life, because they're broken pots or broken vessels. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. And like I said, broken pot, broken vessels, and highly used. And this woman is an example of something that's been highly used. And I don't know what leverage she has, but that's part of the delusion right here. Like, imagine her, like, what is she denying? And that's, again, they have this grandiose sense of self-value, like, I don't want to say that. I'll take that back. Like what the moisture is gone. Basically, let's move on.
The 4B movement was created in response to wanting to distance themselves from toxic and violent men.
That literally are so far in their masculine role that the men weren't even looking in their direction in the first place.
Are you joking? These men flock to hot, strong, independent women. They
That's what I'm talking about. And she's delusional, Peaceful Life.
She's cuckoo, man.
And she's not delusional.
Everybody flocking to her. She got salt and pepper already, like at the top. We got, we're like, come on, man.
Well, she got on her top, and she got on her beaver too.
Oh my God! I'm like, what the hell? She got some I don't want to say the word. She probably got them swollen ass fibroids up in there. You can't even do nothing with this woman. You know, that shit's all inflamed. Like, what the hell?
Like your boy called a raisin in the sun.
Right.
Talk to them because their whole goal is to get them and then break them down and turn them into a pick-me. They don't
and then you had these rebellious idiots to turn them into a pick-me, not understanding that a woman is supposed to be picked by her man. When a woman is picked by her man, the man's job is to love that woman, to die for her. I've never in my life seen such delusion, Peaceful Life.
Right.
When they want something for nothing, well, up is down and down is up. And listen, look at some of the comments of some of these silly women. Even as a happily married woman, I wholeheartedly support 4B. I'm happily married, but I support the 4B movement. Do you see that 1,000%?
Yeah, but that makes you question the men, the men that they're married to. These guys have got to be pathetic simps.
Right. And let me tell you something. What they do, they make good women like Sister Bashua, which is rare, and they'll silence those women, call them sisters pygmies, mammies, and try to minimize the joy and the peace and the happiness they got. But the scripture say in the book of Isaiah that a time is coming, Peaceful Life, where there's going to be 7 women to 1 man. They don't value men, and they see them as disposable commodities. And it's problematic. What's your take on it?
Absolutely, and I think we're there now. So these women, even in relationship, we have completely transformed this place into a gynocracy with a clan of women that are just highly indoctrinated hyenas. Basically, we're living in the hyena kingdom with these types of women. Even with a man, with men, they're still talking this nonsense. So they really don't appreciate the relationships that they're in. Maybe because, like, again, this is the problem with, again, we go back to sexual liberation, we go back to feminist indoctrination, and they've been this way for so long. So basically, they're getting the best of both worlds. They got a simp at home that's providing and protecting and looking out for them, and they're still out here talking feminist rhetoric. It's crazy.
Right. They get the best of both worlds, right? Provision and still doing what they want to do, which is taxation without representation.
Want someone like this to begin with? They never do. I mean, what kind of adult content do you think these men are looking at? They're obviously not looking at plain Janes.
And it's just another way that these women are trying to one-up men, but
women wanting to remove themselves from toxic, abusive, and violent men is not their way to one-up them.
But what about toxic, abusive women? What about women that falsely accuse men? What about women that don't allow men to see their children? What about women that are part of domestic violence against men? What about women that are full of paternity fraud, Peaceful Life? What about women that lie to men to get them in marriages and relationships? Everything that men do is always through the damn lens of the negative, and I'm sick of it, man.
Yeah, that's why, again, soft guy era is so important. And just reversing many of the talking points that many of these women have, and it really speaks. Listen to this conversation. It really speaks to why getting in a relationship with these toxic Western women is a death sentence for any man. To be honest with you,
right? I agree. It is a death sentence. And one that I don't welcome.
It's their way to save themselves and protect themselves. All you need to do is think. I know it might be hard.
Look at them trying to shanguish language.
Right.
Shanguish language. I have an amazing partner. Listen what they say at Peaceful Life. I have an amazing partner, but I support 4B movement for sure. Don't ever sell or never exist. The love you seek exists because you see how delusional they are, man? You see how it feeds their solipsism? Mm-hmm. It feeds their solipsism. Hold tight.
I'd like to propose an amendment to the 4B movement. And that amendment will state that there will be no going back and forth with men in our comments on social media. Y'all have to understand that men like this, their sole purpose in life is to harvest energy from women. And if they can't harvest your energy through labor, through having their kids, through having relations with them and relationships with them, they're going to be harvesting your energy via your emotions. And that's exactly what you're giving them when you're going back and forth with them in your comments. Just stop. Learn how to block, delete, ignore, whatever you have to do to protect your energy, because they're coming for it.
Look at what this woman said. You are so right. I divorced a narcissist and indifferent, and walking away was worse for him than engaging and reacting. Everything they call masculine men that have standards narcissists. Have you not heard that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a crazy. I mean, you really can't. It's really a hopeless situation when it comes to them. The only thing you really can do is just walk away. To be honest with you, you just got to walk away.
I agree.
You know, there's nothing you can do. You can't reason with them. You can't. You can't argue with them. You can't. Like, they have a world. They live in a different dimension from us as men. Yeah, it's crazy.
A different dimension. He's at a different dimension.
They are, man. They're gone. You can't. If you try to talk to them, you have a migraine headache. That's why when I see these guys on these panel acts arguing with these women, you're wasting your damn time, man.
You are. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's a waste of time, man. I agree.
But the good thing is they're like vampires, okay? They can't come in unless they're invited. So stop inviting them by arguing with them in your comments. Because it's like
the 4B movement, which if you don't know what that is, go look it up and come back.
Don't worry, I've got you. The 4B movement over in South Korea is starting to get a lot of attention all over the world and the internet, so let's talk about it today. Like, what is it, where did it come from, and why is it becoming so popular all of a sudden? And why does some people believe it is one of the main factors contributing to the fact that South Korea has like one of the lowest fertility rates in the entire world right now? So yeah, I would argue that it's pretty effective, and now it's starting to garner attention over here in the West with all the women who are also fed up with dating. There have been a lot of feminist movements happening in the past 10, 20 years or so over in South Korea, as there has been all over the world, of course. But a new subsect of women in these feminist movements are starting a movement called the 4B movement, also known as the 4 No's, which is a group of women saying no to dating, child rearing, marriage, and relations of any kind with men, if you get what I'm saying.
But they don't understand, man. Men that got money can import women from Cambodia, Vietnam, or even Thailand. Why don't they get that, man? Did you hear me, Ingram?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was distracted. Will you repeat that?
I was saying that they don't get it, that men can get women and bring those women from their countries to Korea.
Yes.
And they don't get it.
That's what they're doing now. They're going to Cambodia and other countries. The problem is that we talk about relationship capitalism, and it's a global market. You talked about needs driving behavior, and what women don't understand is that they're not the only option, and women have no loyalty.
Right.
So the more difficult and hard-headed and disrespectful you are, the more you push the men away, and the more the men are going to seek more enjoyable, feminine, peaceful options, and especially in countries that will appreciate a good man, and are not willing to give men a headache or a migraine, and guys are just going to go there and enjoy themselves. And I think that's really a solid option, as opposed to going back and forth with these women, is completely just check out and leave them alone. But I made a video today talking about traveling from a position of strength and power. And that's why even where you're so important as a licensed clinician is to get guys to proper help from a masculine perspective as well, so that when they do travel overseas, they're mentally healthy. They're not out there, falling for scams or whatever else, because there's scams everywhere.
Right.
And you have to be strong in your masculinity and have some level of discipline to survive overseas or do well or find quality people, which there are a lot. But you have to get past all the, landmines in the road first in many situations. And I think the key is you can't change them. You just got to move and leave them alone.
Right.
Level up for financial freedom and jump on a flight and go somewhere else and enjoy your life.
Yeah,
you're not going to change them.
No, you're not going to change them. And the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
And from my research, the 4B movement actually originated from a larger movement called Escape the Corset in South Korea, which is interestingly similar to some behaviors we've been seeing over here in the West. But it's no secret that in South Korea, the patriarchy is very strong, right? And they have very strict beauty standards and, like, you know, things you're supposed to adhere to. And a lot of women share
But American men don't have strict beauty standards. We take fat women, women with weave, raptor claws, ran through women, women that got all kinds of issues. American men don't have high beauty standards like foreign men, and so Korean men are very strict. They run their country. Right. And what are these women going to do if North Korea attacks South Korea? What are they going to do?
Exactly.
What are they going to do?
Nah, they're screwed. But even worse, like the clip that I shared in the short today, that woman doesn't look like she's adhered to any weight or beauty standards. She's about at least 400 pounds. She went over there to Africa to get her a man. So not only do women, it's even worse in the black community because those women don't even give a rat's ass what black men think about the way they look. Like you talk about the eyelashes, the weight, don't even talk about the weight. You can't even say anything about weight in the black community without getting shamed. A bunch of simps will jump you.
Right.
That they talking about big mama or mama.
Right.
It's ingrained in the culture. So it's really a matriarchal culture in the black community. And it's a gynocracy in this. You can't, they have body positivity. They got all kinds of, you can't tell these women nothing.
Right.
You'll be shamed. The simps will get you. I mean, everything out here is just anti-man standards. Men are not even allowed to, well, we have standards because we're masculine men. We don't give a rat's ass, but still, men in general are not really, allowed to have standards for what they want in women.
Right.
Because you're shamed for having standards and called all kinds of nasty names, insecure, weak, you hate your mama, you're misogynist, you go down the list.
your mama
you can't even want women not to be ran through.
Right.
You can't even say, you can't even shame women for having 100 bodies. They'd be like, call you weak, insecure.
I don't pay them no attention.
Body count don't matter. Like there's nothing you can say to these women. I don't know what these women are talking about with beauty standards or standards at all. We have no standards.
Right. And what they do, they equivocate American gynocentric men to true patriarchies like South Korea and certain countries in Africa. This woman from Nigeria said, we need the 4B movement here in Nigeria. She said they need it in Nigeria, peaceful life.
Good luck with that.
They always felt like they had to have a certain amount of makeup every time they left the house. They had to look a certain way, act a certain way, fit in with society a certain way. They had to buy new clothes every season, and it was just exhausting, and they couldn't afford to keep up with it anymore. Does this sound familiar at all? But of course, naturally, they hit a breaking point, and they formed the Escape the Corset movement. And part of the protest was that women just started destroying makeup and clothes altogether. But a lot of women noticed, of course, things weren't getting better, and the issue stemmed way deeper than just physical appearance. Women started to notice things like South Korea ranks 99 out of all 146 countries for gender equality. That's really bad. And articles started coming out with surveys that were reporting that 65% of women in the whole country didn't even want kids, and 42% didn't want to get married at all. And 80% of the people said the reason for that was because domestic violence was so bad. And on top of the fact that things were getting so bad over there, the South Korean government wanted to shut down the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, which was the place that is supposed to be supporting women. And they started removing terms like gender equality from textbooks. They also noted, of course, that the gender pay gap was huge over there, and there was wild amounts of discrimination from anyone who did choose to become a mother, so why would you want to? So essentially, the women got tired of the men and the government treating them terribly and ignoring them, so they decided to take matters into their own hands and said, we've had enough.
Once again, the most privileged women in the West are white women. Would you not agree with that? In the world, right. Yeah. But they complaining when they have more privilege and power than any woman in the world. They still complaining.
Yeah, it's to the point. It's just disturbing to listen to be honest with you, man, because at the end of the day, they're gonna. The problem is they'll say all this stuff that she's saying right now, and later on tonight she'll get bent over and pounded out. These terrible men. She's gonna get bent over by the patriarchy tonight. That's the problem with them. You know what I mean? Like, So what they say and what they do.
Or use a dildo that men created.
Done, and so far
No,
it's
they're
working
going for the
really
real.
well. So now all the other feminist
she's not
movements in countries.
alphabet, you know, because a lot of these women are alphabet.
Right.
You know, a lot of these women pushing the narrative are alphabet women that are trying to recruit heterosexual women.
Right.
You know, to their community. You know, and that's another disturbing thing, that trend that we don't see. We see it a lot in the community as well, where they usually try to recruit and turn those women out. You know, get them over to their side. You know what I mean?
No, I agree, man. I agree. Hold tight.
Countries where, you know, laws are being overturned, such as here, are seeing that and going, oh, wait, maybe that's not the worst idea. And I haven't decided if I'm personally at this point entirely or not yet, although I've kind of been doing it for the past 25 years anyways. But I do think it's a very interesting thought to consider.
Now look at what the content creators saying. Look, watch this piece of life. The man said, male here, we're mostly doing the same thing. I'm nobody's toy anymore, ain't no one playing with my heart. Then when the man said he has said, look at what the hyena say. Wow, 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 incel cries, ha, ha, yes. Incel, I love how you're so stupid that I've been just passing these same responses the whole time and not reading anything else you've written, and you haven't even noticed point proven love by now. You see how disrespectful she is? Right. When a man say he has standards, it's a problem.
Like the 4B movement, is that not of the devil? Like, it's literally, these women are talking about how they're not going to date men, sleep with men, procreate with men, and all these other things, right? And it's like, wow, like, what are you going to do? Feminism is going to lead these women into dating each other. This is not going to benefit you in any way. This just screams you hate men. Like, imagine if men got on this app and said, oh yeah, we're going to participate in the 4Bs, and we're not going to sleep with women. We're not going to talk to women or date women. You know, we would get shamed for that. Actually, you know what it sounds like? It sounds weird. Like, this literally goes against human nature. You're not going to sleep with men and procreate with men and marry men.
Welcome to the find out portion of Fucking Around, where women literally don't care if we go extinct. Like, literally, women all over the world have decided that if the choice is to be married to a man who treats us like nothing, who gives us no...
I mean, treats us like nothing, Peaceful Life.
Well, maybe we showed that street camera of Soy 6 in Thailand. I'm sure there's a lot of right. Walking the street in Thailand. I'm sure.
But what they don't understand, Peaceful Life, is this: they keep forgetting they're sex robots now.
Right.
Now, of course, no man want to be with no sex robot, but they say the sex robots feel just as good or better than a woman.
Right.
Don't complain. And so imagine men create dolls, androids. Say they sell them for $40,000. It's like a real woman. And somebody finance it like a car.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What are they going to do then, Peaceful Life?
Well, I mean, they're screwed, basically. To be honest with you, man, at this point now, I'm at a point where men, at this point where these women are so toxic, not all of them, it's better for men to do monk mode while they're in the US and go enjoy their life overseas.
Right.
You know, whatever you go overseas, enjoy your life. Because if this is the type of women that you're meeting, I can see why men go monk mode and just don't even date at all while they're here we're in this part of the world. Just go monk mode and just focus on your hobbies, your purpose, and not really engage them. Really, it's going to hurt them more than hurt. Just don't engage them.
Oh yeah.
You know, because you can't win. They got a rebuttal for everything.
Right.
You can't win with these modern women or these simps. Just don't engage them.
Right.
That's why I understand the purpose of these the panels where they are there talking to these women. You're talking to the wall. It's pointless talking to them.
No, I agree. I totally agree. It's actually funny. I just laugh at them.
It's no incentive or benefits to being in that relationship, or the population dying off. We will let it die off. Don't worry, it won't, because there are plenty of women who will still sleep with you. But those aren't the women you're going to want. No, you're going to want the women who don't want you. Otherwise, this wouldn't bother you so much. Because it's not actually about wanting what's best for humanity. It's about you wanting to control the women you can't.
But watch this. They're always talking about control, not understanding that control can be what's called mutually inclusive. All control is not bad. Control is mutually inclusive.
Right.
There's good control and bad control. But they want to control you, do happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, and then the crazy part about it, the guy is not even trying to control. He's just saying that fire's hot. Don't touch the fire because it's hot. Right. And that's equates to her to control. But that's the problem with men. That's why, like I said, it goes back to why soft guy era is so powerful. Because we're really just declaring our standards, and it's really using their talking points against them, which is what they can't stand.
Right.
So if guys are in a soft guy mode and they're not doing this and they're not doing that, and they're demanding that their dates be paid for, their gas be pumped, they get in the passenger seat. You're in a situation now where what can you say to them now? You say they're toxically masculine. Well, soft guy era is not toxically masculine.
Right. I totally agree, because it's basically parroting their talking points.
I think it's cute that you think if you came out and said you weren't going to sleep with women anymore, we'd actually care. Most of us just want you to leave us alone. Also, marriage isn't natural. It's a contract. It's about ownership of property, women, and study after study have shown that men who are married are happier and live longer, but women who are married...
That's a myth. That is a damn myth that men that are married are happier and live longer. They are happier if they get women like Sister Bashura that compliment that man.
Right.
That's traditional. That cook for him, love him, respect him, honor him, take care of his sexual needs, and then he turns around and provide her with love, protection, and provision. Those men are happier, but they're not happy with the typical modern woman, because I see it all the time in practice. How would you respond to that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's crazy to even think that. It's just like a made up crap, man. To be honest with you, see, how do you measure this? And that's the problem is you got to look at how you measure this and what measurement matrix we're using to measure this happiness based upon what? Some guy sitting there with a wife with a big frying pan over his head. Are you happy? What's that guy going to say? Mm-hmm. What's he going to really say? Mm-hmm. And sometimes people say, well, they live X, Y, Z amount of years longer. But what about the quality of that life or the existence that they have? And they always say it's not how many years in the life, it's how many life you get out of the years.
Right.
And that's the problem. It just can't measure that. How do you measure this happiness? What meter you're gonna use? And I can't see nobody being happy with no damn ball busting feminist like this. I mean, God, she just. That's a headache right there, because that's irritation.
Not a masculine man is not. I don't tolerate women. I just ignore them, man, because they, like you said, they're a pain in the ASS. Hold tight.
Are less happy and don't live as long. Oh, and sweetheart, it's not about misandry. It's not about us hating men. It's about us expecting men to evolve and be better, and you choosing not to. So if you don't like this, if you don't like the fact that women have said, you know what, we're done, we're peacing out, let it die off, you have no one to blame but yourselves.
And guess what, Heifer? Let it die off, because it ain't gonna hurt men, it's gonna hurt you. Right. It ain't gonna hurt men if they let it die off. Like Usher said, let it burn. It ain't gonna hurt men, because men don't mind living alone. Am I right or wrong?
Not at all. I mean,
you live by yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly. You live by yourself. All right, guys, we're gonna have a live call in. If you got any questions for Peaceful Life, give us a call. Hold tight. If you got any questions for Peaceful Life, give us a call. We're about to have a live call in, guys. A live call in 919-855-4181. But before we do it, guys, if you're in need of a non-diagnostic consultation, come see me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. Come see me at kosherclinician, guys, at gmail.com. Hold tight, peace. I'm gonna drop you down for a minute. Again, guys, we're about to have a live call in. That's 919-885-4181. Bring it to you live from the greatest state in the union. What do you think about the 4B movement? Because Peaceful Life is laughing all the way to the bank, and so are many other men. We're laughing to the bank as modern men are checking out and becoming indifferent and are embracing The soft guy life. Call in if you got questions for Peace of Life. Once again, 919-885-4181. 50 minutes after the hour, 8 o'clock. Brings you live from the Tar Heel State. As Peace of Life and I are interpreting the soft guy movement or the 4B movement and what it means to
Pedal to the floor, need no brake lights. In the dark, watch me make light. I'm a star, got no stage fright. Please don't get me mad, I'm a nice guy. My baby say I'm cute, yeah, I'm tight fine. I be waking up when you go night-night. In a different zone with the time. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Ooh, go. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. I got any 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s.
Let's join into the conversation.
I've been going dumb, I've been going mental.
As we talk about the 4B movement and our Korean men becoming the next 4B men. What say you once again?
Grandmama, I'm her Nicky Nick. I just wanna love, but I've been hit or miss. I might up and leave, yeah, take a pic. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Go. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. I got any 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s.
Shout out to the number one sponsors thus far, Gregory Scholar. He's the number one sponsor, followed by Top Gun and Swab D. Call in, guys, if you got any questions for Peaceful Life and I, as we talk about the soft girl era, and the implications that it means to modern women and modern men in modern relationships. Shout out to my man, Y'all Borgen. Shout out to Y'all Borgen for the $2 super chat. He said, will it make me a sandwich? I think it might, Y'all Borgen. And then shout out to James Turner. He said, shout out to the soft homie movement. Ski, splash, splash. Don't let me catch you, James Turner, out in South Africa skating, man. But Peaceful Life, what do you get from this conversation, man? Once again, guys, call in if you got questions for Peaceful Life. Once again, 919-885-4181. Go ahead, brother.
I mean, what I get from this conversation is that men just got to get to the point where they behave, they respond, and they act with their behaviors. After you see how the way things have degraded in terms of male-female relationship in this country, these women are unreachable. You're wasting your time. You're talking to the wall. You can't communicate with them. They only communicate with their feelings. They only parrot feminist talking points. All you can do is, I say, level up for financial freedom, take care of your health, take care of yourself, your mental health especially, get your exercise program on the road. I support monk mode now in terms of when you in this country, fly over this crap. Jump on a plane and fly over all this crap. Talking to them is useless. They're not listening to you. You're talking to the wall. And that's really all you can do at this point now, because it's gotten to the point where it's gotten so toxic now that you're really just wasting your time, wasting your life. He said the soft homie movement. Salute, James. What's up, man? Peace and blessings, man.
Once again, guys, call in at 919-919. Yeah, soft homie. Yeah. Call in at 919-885-4181 if you got a question for Peaceful Life about the 4B movement and why so many men are checking out, or you can also call in and tune in with me, the coach, the clinician. The lines are hot, guys. The line is hot. Piece of life. You begin to travel. What were some of the biggest things you saw, man, when you were in Thailand that you're not seeing from American women?
Well, I mean, Thailand has its issues like everywhere else, but I think what the first thing you understand is if you are a masculine man, you have access to a whole lot different treatment. I would say, put it like that. You are indeed, for whatever motivation there is, you are indeed the prize in that situation. It's not hard to be pampered, treated well, treated with respect. And for those men that have done the work here, work on themselves, and try to make themselves the best version of themselves, you live a pretty enjoyable life. Now, if you go over there simp, you're gonna have some problems, like everywhere else in the world. You know what I mean? But I think the low stress environment is really what I enjoy. Like really, to be in an environment where we're not having that combative back and forth, that gender warfare that we have here in the West. That's one of the things I enjoyed the most, even more so than the women, is the incredible amount of peace that I enjoyed while I was there. I think what's his name is over there now, Taylor Major. He talked about it, how peaceful it is compared to being here in the West.
Oh yeah. Very, very peaceful. Shout out to Asora C for the 5. He said, turns out the 4B also may be a result of the Korean government making it too expensive to have children. So once again, they are way out of control. And let them stay out of control, Asora C. They're only harming themselves. Once again, shout out to Greg with Scotland, the #1 sponsor of the stream on tonight, followed by Top Gun, followed by Suave D. Guys, don't let those guys be the only ones donating. Shout out to all the people that are listening. I need one of the women to call in, but sure, feel free to call in, sis. 919-885 4181. That's 919-885-4181 from the Tar Heel State. You talk about peaceful life. That's the moniker that you use for your channel. When did you realize you were compromising your peaceful life?
I think when you realize it, to be honest with you, you don't really get the full blast of it until you get into relationships,
right?
Long-term relationships. And I think what we find out is that it becomes a situation. Put it like this: in this culture, I have this theory of familiarity breeds disrespect.
Right.
So you're constantly having to maintain your masculine frame and keep women in order that were not raised to be under the leadership of men.
Right.
And especially when it's not supported by family, culture, religious institution, community, and the state in general. So in the distance, it takes a tremendous amount of masculinity to manage women under the roof, modern women particularly. And when I knew that something was off for me was during the time periods when I was in long-term relationships where it became very much a full-time job to keep women in some type of respectful order. Because it was and especially with some of the brothers, they may have experienced it where their authority is going to be constantly challenged. Put it like this: it's a full-time job. You know what I mean? And that's a difficult thing that a lot of men, I think, have to face here in the West. It's just dealing with having to check disrespect all the time, or the possibility of disrespect. That's a full-time job, and I think that wears a lot of guys out.
No, it does. It does, man. I tell women all the time that, Teddy said you inspire me. When you inspire your man, especially if he's a good man, men want to do more. All men that I talk to say they want to do more when their women take care of them.
Right.
But they don't get it. They'll rather be combative. And like somebody else said, a lot of them going to die alone because, once again, they're very solipsistic. But can you imagine a world peace for life where the grid shut down for maybe a whole month? What do you think? What do you think will happen?
I think a couple of days and there'll be bodies floating around Bayou in the river. They'll take the bridge because the way her self-esteem is so dependent on external validation from that electronic device. The women basically live with their head in this phone, constantly swiping all day long. It's hard to reach anybody when their head's in the phone all day long, and this is their source, and that's why when men have been bombarded TikTok with these soft guy era videos, it's so traumatizing to them because that's their portal of victimization. The guys have taken over their portal with these videos that have been completely centered on men and parroting their talking points through a male voice, and it's so traumatizing to them. People don't understand. It's like taking somebody's heroin and putting a gallon of water in it. You know what I mean? it just destroys it. It destroys the high.
Right. Well, it needs to be destroyed. Shout out to my man K Williams for the $2 cash app. I appreciate it, brother K Williams. Shout out. Once again, guys, 919-885-4181. That's 919-885-4181. Bringing to you live from the greatest state in the union. Chopping it up with my dear friend of Peaceful Life as we are intersecting and breaking down the 4B movement, but not only breaking down the 4B movement, but also the soft guy era. You talked about it very poignantly, Peaceful Life, about how the soft guy era is the antithesis to the talking points, or more or less using reverse psychology. Right. I know you did a skit with your girlfriend or your friend, but when you think about it, why can't they resonate with their own talking points in your opinion?
Well, they can't because they have this mindset of victimization. You see, they still see us as the evil monsters, patriarchal demons that beat them and oppressed them for centuries. Mm-hmm. And now they're finally able to stand up and fight. Remember, it's a whole cult type, indoctrination type mindset and mentality. So, and not only that, the humanization of men. We don't see us as having the same feelings as them because they haven't humanized us. Mm-hmm. The only time, the closest a woman gets to humanizing men is maybe her son or her father or men in her family that there's an emotional bond, through, genetic relationship or whatever else. So they raised their kid or grew up with the kid or they have some type of emotional bond. But to the regular man, they don't humanize us as much as we humanize them and see them and look out for them. And that's the problem is, they don't, it's like attacking something that you don't think is human or feels pain. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the problem right there. And that's why they can't really relate to us because they have not humanized. They see us as monsters and them as victims. And that's the problem.
Right. Monster victims. We're predators. We suppose they really see us as their servants, a lot of them. They don't see themselves.
And disposable. Very disposable. Yes.
Right. They don't see us as they were made to serve us, but they see us as us being made to serve them.
Yes,
and if we don't live up to their expectations, then it's a problem. That's why Randu women can have high expectations. Women that got children can have high expectations. Women that got all other kinds of issues, and a large part of it is because of social media. Shout out to my man Andrew Baker for the $20. Him, Gregory Scholar, Andrew Baker, Top Gun, and Swab, they are the #1 sponsors. He said that salute, gents. The fake 4B movement is just another example of how modern women have gone beyond delusional. Men must celebrate this because it benefits men, not women. What's your take on what he said real quick on Peaceful Life?
He said, yep, I totally agree with him. It actually, he is correct. It does benefit men. I mean, I don't see how this benefits women. I mean, I really don't. I mean, what are they going to do? Take away used box from men? Maybe the STD rates will go down. He said
the STD rates will go down.
What it was. So they depend on male validation and male financial sponsorship. And like, they're like drug addicts when it comes to men. I mean, their whole existence is made of them. Their whole existence and their self-esteem is centered around men.
Right.
So if they shun men, where are they going to get this validation from? Because they can't stand each other. You know, you ever seen a group of them, they get into cat fighting and doing some terrible things to each other. So I don't know how they're going to survive when their whole existence, unless they turn into alphabet. They turn alphabet. That's the only other option. And then alphabet's the worst, because with alphabet, relationship is really volatile. I mean, you know, that stud will deliver us. You want to talk about Harpo? It'll be Harpo in a female version. You know, so
no, I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. And you know, and I think, like I said, man, it's so powerful that men are beginning to see what their worth is and to see what their power is, and to more or less determine what their worth is. It's very important, and it's the highest honor that a man can have when he knows what his power and worth is. Once again, guys, 919-885-4181. Tune in to conversation with myself and Peaceful Life. If no one calls in, I would love to hear from one of the ladies and one of the brothers. Someone would like to call in, but if no one does call in, Peaceful Life, where do you see this thing going in the next 5 to 10 years, man?
I see that in the next 5 or 10 years, what I see is this movement completely imploding upon itself, because it's found.
Hold on, Peaceful Life. We got a call in. Hold on, brother. All right. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. Right. Go ahead. Well, how would you like to add to the conversation with Peaceful Life for now? Go ahead, brother.
Well, I thank both of you brothers for having this conversation, but it needs to be had. But I think the one thing the lovely ladies over here don't realize is the South Korean men have already solved their 4B problem. Whether you know it or not, gentlemen, the South Korean men right now are importing their wives from Thailand, the Philippines, and China.
Right.
Cambodia also.
So if they think it's going to work over here, and that's what the soft guy situation, they're doing, it's just straight up satire. And they're saying all the things that ladies say to us for the past, 15 years? About how they ain't going to do this, they ain't going to do that. And now you got ladies straight up asking you to give them money because they want money. And they want us to, it's like they want us to, you know, like I think, earlier, they want to charge new car prices for used up vehicles. No man's going to do that no more. No. Like I said, the Passport Pro started it. The Soft Life dudes, they're shutting their stuff down, because if they wasn't, why these ladies keep on making TikTok videos after TikTok video?
Fact.
And the guys are slowing down.
Right. Let me ask you a question, man. When did you see this? Women taking a turn from the worst? When did you see it taking a turn from the worst, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh! When I was younger, I saw this changing up when I had a lady named Gwen Guthrie had a song called "Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent." I noticed it then, and I started noticing the women who were feminine and friendly started talking like, you know, they had all this privilege. And back in the day, the brothers would just deal with it and not say a word. But when No Scrubs came out, in my opinion, it turned a lot of good women into like disrespectful people, bro. Honestly. And after that, every other song nowadays is talking about how women don't need a man and how, you know, they're celebrating the Sexy Reds of the world and Megan Thee Stallions of the world. And I just think a lot of men at first try to stay here and work with them. A lot of brothers, not just brothers, all men try to work with their women. but the women fell into the myth and the lie of feminism, and they fell into it so deeply and so powerfully, they didn't know how not to get out of it. And now, instead of them going like, hey, you know what, maybe I should stop, they doubled down and tripled down. Because if they didn't, there would be no such thing as MGTOW, the red pill, passport bros, or not this soft life, the soft guy situation. They just, and the thing about it is, all the guys know they're just joking around, but the ladies are so caught up in their feelings, they think that the men are serious, and they're not. They're just saying this. They're just doing the same thing to you that you've done to every man on the planet for decades. That's all it is. And they don't want to see it.
Right. Right. How would you respond to that, Peaceful Life?
I think he's absolutely correct. And I think, like you said, men will always find options. And you said it best, needs drive behavior. And like I said, the Korean men, they're going to Cambodia, they're going to places like he said, China and other places. Men are going to find women, and there's all kinds of women. There's the Philippines, there's all kinds of countries around the world. And we talked about relationship capitalism. But at this point now, it's really pointless to go back and forth with these women other than to enjoy ourselves with comedy. So my channel and even this channel, we have a lot of laughters because, like you said before, this is therapeutic for the guys. We come in here, we fellowship, we have a good time, because it's almost laughable at this point with these women because we're just not going to participate in any of their foolery. It really, they're on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right. And I think the more men check out, the more indifferent they become. It's going to hurt them. But can you imagine if a major crisis happened in America, man? Can you imagine the ones that say they don't need a man? What would happen if there was a major crisis? If there was something negative or serious to happen? Once again, thank you to the caller that called in. I forgot to ask him where he was calling from, but he's correct. The passport pro movement is changing everything, and if we keep the countries that are patriarchal strong, then men that got money and status won't have an issue with traveling.
Oh, absolutely. But part of that crisis we talked about it. There's been incidents in New York where some of these guys have gotten out of jail early and they've been cold cocking women in the face.
Right, I heard about that, right.
Yeah, like they've been crying for police protection and all the other stuff. So really we're getting to that point right now. And guys are like just turning their backs now because if you bash men for tell them how terrible and how disgusting they are, they're not going to want to help you. They're not going to want to step up. I know Brick Lady was a fake scammer thing, but look at that one. That one was a complete alphabet community. We don't need no man, this, and that. And she was screaming, all these men just stand around and this, whether it lies or not. But that's how it always turns back towards shaming men for not doing these traditional toxic things that they accuse us of, being masculine and all these other stuff. But at the end of the day, it has gotten to a point right now, and in this the journey that we're on right now, where unless it's a complete and utter apocalyptic environment, I don't see anything changing with these women. You just gotta listen to them, look at them, clown them, have a good time, and work, focus on the mental health of the brothers. And that's what I do. I focus on the mental health of the brothers, and making sure they're in good spirits, and we can see each other on flights. That's how I say it.
Yeah. And I think these conversations are important. I'm going to end the stream, Peaceful Life. Thank you, man. You've been a great guest.
No problem, brother.
I would love to have you back. I think I'm going to do another one called Talking About Soft Life and talk about it more in depth. But before we end it, shout out to my man Gregory Scotland for the 20.
Salute.
As he's the #1 sponsor. Shout out to Gregory Scotland again for the 5. Shout out to Top Gun for the 10. Gregory Scotland for the 5. Shout out to Top Gun once again for the 5. Shout out to Gregory Scotland for the 5. Shout out to MC Recovery for the 5. Shout out to T Kings for the 5. Top Gun for the 5. Gregory Scotland for the 5 again. Top Gun for, we got one more call in. One more call in. All right, we're about to end the stream, guys. We'll give you one more, but how would you like to add to the conversation? What's your name and where you calling from? What's your name and where you calling from?
Travis Brown.
Green Bay area. How you doing, Travis? How would you like to add to the conversation? Do you have a question for my friend Peaceful Life before we end the stream, brother?
Yeah. Just want to say I appreciate the work y'all brothers doing, man. And I agree with a lot of the points that you made. This whole 4B movement thing, like you guys said, you can look at the soft guy movement, the soft era movement, and the drizzle movement and tell us like satire. We're just trying to make a point. But I actually believe that, in particular, in the Black American community, that like a lot of our women are really down with this genocide thing. It's like if white supremacy was a corporation, they would be the receptionist. You know, I would even put them that low. They would be the managers. You know, and I hate to say that because I grew up, you know, around a lot of good black women, but I've noticed things change over time. I'm 38 years old. I'm an older millennial. And I noticed that the vitriol and the hatred is a lot more potent. And it's not due to anything that we did. You can literally break down these arguments that they made and look at multiple occasions, plenty of occasions where Black American men fought back when the odds were stacked against us. I mean, whether it be rebellions from slavery, we had over 100 slavery rebellions in this country. Whether it be brothers that picked up guns and went head up with the KKK, they're not going to show those things in the public school system. They're not going to, in my personal opinion, they're not going to do anything to glorify the Black American man as a hero. You know, for example, we have black cowboys, but they don't show that image. You know, I know a lot of people that'll laugh at the whole notion of black cowboys, just as an example. But not only do we have cowboys, we have some of the best cowboys, but there's a narrative that they like to push that they're comfortable with, and they do this in media. They got to present us as Pookie and Ray Ray. You know, the white guy, not that I have any bias, but the white guy, he has his hair blown in the wind. He gets the girl at the end of the movie. And the white and the black guy is, you know, made out to be less masculine, made out to be a buffoon, made out to be silly. And that's not what I know in real life as far as my reality. You know, I know a lot of strong, stern brothers. And one other thing I wanted to agree with, A Peaceful Life said, he talked about the dehumanization. And that's what I see. Because I remember a time where, even when I was younger, where even if a black woman didn't find you to be attractive, we kind of had that brother sister thing going. You know what I mean?
Yes,
where we would come to class, right? We would have these standardized tests we would take, and the males and the females, all Black American males and females, we would kind of like prepare the chief for the test. I remember girls tapping me on my shoulder like, boy, you better do your work, you know. But the way things are today, I wouldn't even allow a black woman to call me boy. You know how they do that? They play around sometimes. Oh, boy, you crazy. But I'm realizing they mean it in the way that white supremacists mean it. Mm-hmm. And I've watched you brothers, not just you guys, I've watched you brothers have these conversations.
Right.
I've seen you guys try to have these conversations in good faith.
Right.
I think we're at a point where we're past analyzing this, and black men in particular, we're going to have to really talk with each other and politic with each other about what is our game plan, because that's how they operate. Well, if I give them credit for anything, I don't respect their agendas, but I will say this, they know how to mobilize. We see that all throughout the Democratic Party. They know how to mobilize to get what they want for their demographic. You know, but on the black man side of things, we've always looked at black people as our demographic as a whole. And what I see, I'm telling you as a younger brother, what I see with them is they really believe that they are their own demographic. They are a separate group. You know what I mean? And I just want to say I appreciate what you brothers doing. I'm catching a flight to Panama on Thursday.
Good.
Panama City. You know, I went to Colombia, went to a couple different places, and this passport growth thing is ramping up. And not only that, even the brothers who don't leave America, with this content that you brothers put out, brothers are holding American women to the highest standard.
Right.
If they choose to deal with them. So I don't know what the hell these ladies are thinking, but I know that right now we're dealing with the Israel situation, right? You guys know about that. Some of these ladies don't even know about this. We're dealing with the situation in Taiwan with China. We're dealing with the situation in Russia. I think, like your brother said, we've made life so comfortable for them. And I mean all men, white men, black men, we all contributed to this country. There are white men that will tell you, yes, black men have made significant, honest white men that tell you black men have made significant contributions to this country and vice versa.
Right.
And we've created this level of comfort for them to where they just, they out of pocket, man. They out of pocket. They're disrespectful. And one thing I know about a man, a real man, even some of the most friendly men I know, we can only go so long dealing with disrespect. A real man can't tolerate disrespect. He can't, you know, some men respond differently to it. Some will put their hands on you, some will walk away. But if you got it, you know, if you're a man and you got that man up in you, you can't sit around that. It's not healthy for you. You know, I honestly believe that that's a natural function of as far as being a man, and we can't, you know, we can't tolerate that. And I agree with that brother said. He said it's to the point where this stuff will wear you down. If you go among these ladies and you hang around them, and I'm talking about all Western women, black women in particular, it's to the point where you have to just remove yourself because you're going to be fighting battles all day, every day, brother. And I'm not talking about just the woman you date, just interacting with them, being in that environment around them. So we need to focus on our own political agenda, and the standard should just be dealing with women who respect us, right? Women who respect us, regardless of race. You know, that should be our number one thing. Black fathers need to be raising black boys to teach them that the priority is respect when you deal with the woman.
Right.
I'll take the foreign respectful woman over one of my own.
Oh, I don't blame you.
That's not what
don't blame me, brother.
Yeah, we're dealing with a unique. Yep.
I don't blame you.
That's not what we want to do. But yeah, you know what I mean. We're dealing with I gotta say, black men need to understand that. And when we talk like this, some people take offense to it, but black men need to understand that we are a uniquely different group of men with a uniquely different set of circumstances. I understand the things that how slavery impacted some of us or whatnot, but we're at a point where we're beyond that. You know, every black person alive today, I feel like you're smart enough to do the right thing. Or you have the resources to get the information to understand what's taking place. And I'm seeing it now as this thing unfolds. These people have used our women as a tool to dismantle our families because they understand that you cannot build a nation. You cannot build a civilization. You can't build a nation if the men and the women are not on the same page. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree, man.
I appreciate y'all, brothers, and y'all keep up the good work. I don't want to talk to death all night.
All right.
I watch your platform before you had as many followers as you do. Keep up the good work. And I got a high level of respect for y'all because I know when you have these conversations, especially in the Black American community, it's real touchy. You get a lot of pushback. You know what I mean? And I respect both of you brothers for what you're doing. I'm 38 years old. I'm a young millennial. And I'm telling you, things changing with my generation. Things are changing. We're not going to play with them. And it's even with Gen Z. So I really don't know what's going to happen with these ladies, man. Like, I think that they're highly underestimating how catastrophic the damage will be.
Yes, sir. Right.
Women don't have the same foresight the men have.
They don't. They don't have to give them provision. But also do us a favor, man. When you see these streams, brother, share the streams, but also support us financially. These streams take a lot of time. Support brothers like Peaceful Life, man, because we take risks on these shows, man. Especially me myself being a licensed therapist, man. But I do it because I know that needs drive behaviors, and men need to have a voice, and that's why I do these shows. So thank you for calling in, young brother. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your brilliant insight. Peaceful Life, real quick. The young man had a brilliant talking point. Well, how would you like to add to what he said real quick?
I think he's right on point. And to really confirm what he's saying, we've seen this with the contract for America with Ice Cube when he presented that during the Trump administration to those hyenas up there on the panel. And that Vivica Fox said that what's in this for black women specifically, which is that they have their own clan that's separate from black women. And even when you talk to the black women in general, if you had a conversation with them, they start talking to you like they're your mother and correcting you like their mother. But they try to shame you or son you in some type of way. And they don't even respect your manhood and your masculinity. So really, you can't really have an opinion that's masculine, that's leadership oriented, without being attacked not only by the women, but also they have an army of simps, men that have been emasculated over the years. I always say they've gotten their balls clipped, put in a jar, put in the pantry behind the peas and rice, and those guys will come and attack. Those are part of the male hyenas in the hyena clan. So you really can't get any progress done. But I salute to that brother. He is on point.
No, I totally agree. Well, listen, man, thank you once again, brother. You were brilliant on tonight. I enjoyed the show. We will do another one soon. Be on the lookout. But once again, guys, go support Peaceful Life. Show that brother some love by hitting the Cash App, man. You know, him and I both take risks during these shows. But we got to speak out. Someone got to speak out. And men should never suffer in silence. Peaceful Life, thank you, brother. I'll be talking to you on the back end, man. I'll see you later, brother. Be good.
I'm out, brother.
All right, be good. All right, guys, we're going to end the stream right now. We're going to end the stream, guys. Shout out to Peaceful Life. And, guys, I'm going to see you guys soon. This me and Peaceful Life about to end this stream. And, guys, once again, love yourself. Don't settle for less. And understand that it gets better later. Understand it gets better later, guys. And we are tuning off.
When my friends go, it was simple. When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, then I strike. I go hard day and night, yeah. I go hard day and night. 1-to-1, no surprise. See the hate in their eyes. My brothers blood money bleed. I got the game in the squeeze. What would you do for some green? What would you do for some blues? Go pick and choose the fam of the cheese. Some people not built like that. Some people get killed like that. Pressure like water, lights, mortgage, I'm paying that bills like that. Now I got kids like that. No wonder why I feel like that. Some people go to war for nothing. Me, I go to war for something.
Before there was the manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was.
When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, then I strike. I go hard day and night. Money on the line, keep calling. Money on the books, ain't all that. My kids, they'll be ballin'. Got a real bankroll, not for Instagram. My mama on the line, keep calling. Praying for me, know I need all that. Told me it's not about ballin'. Real blessed, but I'm still sinning, man. What would you do for a win? What would you do for your friends? What if this life is a foe? What if the dogs pretend? What if you rode to the end? What if you started again?
Fire! The kosher.